What do you want?
Want.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
How is everyone doing?
It's been a while, but not really. We were here last week, right?
Did we?
It feels like we weren't, but I think we were.
I think we were.
It feels like months have passed.
So much has happened. I've been in a different country since. Everyone returned.
Yeah. You've been in Europe, living your best life. Here
Yeah,
in America, we've been losing our rights.
Oh, God, you guys. That is so bad. Oh, my God.
It's very disappointing.
Seriously.
But not surprising.
And I feel like it's going to keep happening in more countries, because it happened in Poland, it happened in Northern Ireland. So
Recently? I didn't know that. I guess not even I guess. I know I'm ignorant.
like a couple of years ago, I think. But pretty recent.
Yeah. That's disappointing. It's funny because I guess maybe because I'm on this side of the world, I have heard, different countries like I think Colombia and I believe Mexico has also like lessened their policies. They've been becoming more liberal despite having like Catholic roots. So it seemed like progress was being made in the opposite direction, where more countries that were conservative were like opening up their rules and, more doctors were being trained. So it was like, oh, great. Like this is sort of, to me, like signs of progress. And then all of a sudden, the United States goes back 50 years. It's weird. It's crazy. It's really been on my mind a lot. And I don't know. It sucks.
Of course. Are you going to strike on the 4th?
Depends. Well, I'm going to New York City, so maybe that would be the perfect place to do it. But it might be weird because we're visiting my fiance's family, so I don't know. Like, hey guys, I gotta go. I'll be back for family dinner tonight after the strike. I don't know. We'll have to see. If I was here, maybe, but I don't know. Stuff like that, like, and I think protesting is important, but I also think that it's one part of the equation, and another part needs to be, I think you posted about it actually on your story today, if it was you, about like, you have to start to like punish these organizations that support like the changes. So like, okay, if you don't like a company that did something, like don't buy the product. That's the solution. Like hit them where it hurts, which is money. And I definitely agree. So, I think something needs to be done. I don't know what. I just kind of feel like helpless. Like, I don't know. I'm just upset about it and I want to be helpful, but I have no answers.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard because like the decision was made, so it's kind of like late to really do anything.
Yeah. I
Um,
would I would love to talk about at some point in the near future, maybe we can do it together, about like the self-help response and the spirituality response, because there's been gurus that have said nothing, there's been people who've said something, there's been gurus who have like very weird takes about sovereignty and their opinions about like urethral messaging and like, what are you talking about? How is this related to Roe v. Wade? But okay. So it'd be interesting to kind of go through like a list of the people we talk about a lot and see like where they stand. And a lot of them, I think, don't stand anywhere, or they stand somewhere privately, but publicly they don't talk about it as to not
yeah,
lose fans.
I would assume that the loads of them are like on the Christian side and
Yeah.
probably like on the pro-life side, I would say. I mean, I'm just assuming. I have no idea really.
Yeah, me neither. I know a lot of them are like Christian scientists, which is sort of like an offset of Christianity, but more so in the spirituality. Like, you can heal your limbs, you can grow your limbs back if you just believe. So that's,
Oh,
I guess, like they would believe, like, well, whatever happens, happens for a reason. So there's no need to have any medical intervention. They don't go to the doctor at all. So, they're not going to want you to get a procedure done. So, anyways, that's not the point of
that's
this show today, but at some
oh.
point.
But yeah, definitely like donate to local abortion funds if you can. That's definitely a great idea to do. I noticed a lot of people are pushing the whole red picture thing, and I mentioned it on Instagram. I don't know if that will do anything. It kind of reminds me of the black square or during Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
But it might just be like a visual, you know. It might show like, if other countries like sympathize and like, use the same red color and stuff or whatever to just show support. So I guess as a visual it could work, but I don't think that will in itself really make much of a
Fix the
change. I think
issue.
it has to
Yeah.
be with like just choosing better people like locally, I guess, to govern, I don't know. It's just such a bad. I can see why they're doing it because they want more workers, they want more taxpayers, and
Yeah. It's
like
horrible.
we have not like as millennials. I think we have not had enough children for them, so that means fewer taxpayers in the future. So they're not loving it.
Yeah, that's sort of my theory too. And again, it's like one part. Like I think people do believe, and especially people at the bottom who aren't in control, like the people who go to church every week or multiple times a week and believe in the messages of like, in the Catholic Church, in the evangelical church, there are certain ways that they do believe. So I don't think it's all like everyone that's pro-life is like secretly just wanting labor to be improved. I think the people at the top, are much more pushing the religious angle, knowing that that's not what really they believe in, but they know that it's effective as an emotional pull as to why we're doing this, and think of the babies and all of that, when in reality I think you're right, it's much more of a logical step. Like, our birth rate's dropping, people can't afford to have children, so instead of fixing that, which is going to take so much work and effort and maybe it doesn't work, we'll just force them to have children, and then our problems will be solved. I tend to believe that's sort of the general idea, but who knows.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's the I would agree. I think that's pretty obvious. Why would they care about where life begins, etc. That's if they cared, that would have been a bigger conversation like before as well. Like it's not it wasn't relevant in terms of like hitting their pockets, so now it is, and now they use that because that's like a powerful emotional argument, and that's kind of apparently what works with some people. So they're gonna say where life begins at fucking ejaculation or something, and AKA we need more people to pay tax. So
Life begins at the first sign of arousal.
life begins like while walking on the street and just noticing a guy across the street and winking.
How dare
Um,
you?
yeah.
I made a I don't know exactly. I always think of like if I was a stand-up comedian, like what joke would I make in certain situations. So I don't know if it's funny, but I always think like, you know how I don't know, people in society, like women are definitely treated, I think, lesser than, you know. So thinking of like a politician mad at a pregnant woman, like yelling at her, like, you're so stupid, I hate you. It's like, how can, I thought you believed in life, or you really cared about, like, you know, people living lives. It's like, there could be a man in there. How dare you? Like, there's like a male baby in the belly. That's what they're concerned about. Like, shut up, bitch.
Oh,
Like, there could be a man in that belly. Like, that's what we care about. I don't know. I have to work on
oh
it.
God.
That's the general joke of it. That's the real
Um,
concern. There could be a man in her belly. Anyways.
Somebody made a joke. I think I don't know where. I think probably on TikTok is where I saw it. But it was something like they were speaking to person who is like pro-life, and they were like, this is not a baby, this is a fetus, this is, or not even fetus, this is cells, probably, like, at first. And they're like, yeah, but it will turn into a baby. And he was like, oh well, that's some logic. Yeah, this is a baby, this is a 15-year-old that I have, like, a pedophile like type logic, but she will grow into a woman. So no worries, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
um
I don't know.
just Sorry, that's kind of dark, but like,
It's
same
true though.
logic, you know?
Yeah. No, I hear you. I know. It's all the logic does not compute. Like, this is the last thing I'll say about this. I had to hear for like months and months and months, like, my body, my choice. I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to, have to put something on my face that I disagree with. How dare you tell me what to do? And then literally like a year later, it's like, this is a really concerning issue, and we need to just regulate, and we need to, people cannot be trusted. So we need to make sure that we handle it at a governmental level. It's like the hypocrisy just is so insane. Like, we can trust people with guns. We can trust people with, like having illnesses and not getting vaccinated. Like, we trust everyone. Like, you're sovereign. But when it comes to having a child, no, we need to the government needs to step in and, like, I don't know. So
Yeah,
crazy.
this is really just not about body autonomy. This is not, like, it is about women, but it's really not about women. It's more just that women are the people giving birth. If men were the ones giving birth, they would be the ones affected. They would be the ones, like, that the government would be in control of, because really ultimately they just care about having taxpayers. That's it. In my opinion, it's crystal clear. They've realized they're, like, basically at a shortage of laborers and a shortage of taxpayers in the future, and they want to fix it. So that
Yeah.
literally, there is no other way anyone else would interfere with your ability to procreate or not. Like, that's just why, because, like, what else would they have to gain from it? Like, literally nothing, aside from having a society that pays more tax, more money to them.
Yeah, I don't understand it otherwise, because we have religious freedom in this country. So, it's not a real, well, I'm sure they would love everyone to be Christian, but, that's obviously not possible and not happening as of now. Call me in 5 years, we'll see what the conversation's like. But, it just seems like, why, yeah, there has to be a money, follow the money. There's always a money thing tied to any actual change in anything, especially in the United States. So to say, like, this is just a feelings issue, this is just a women's issue, this is just anything but a monetary issue, to me, it's like, there's no way. There would be no movement forward at all unless there was money on the table that was being left by somebody. So,
Yeah, exactly. I think that's it. It's very
anyways,
cynical, but yeah, talking about cynical.
talking about
Um,
cynical. Gabby Bernstein, what does she think about abortion? Let's
oh
see.
God.
No, I don't think. I don't know for sure, but she's pretty. Let's just talk about who Gabby. Before we jump the gun here, no pun intended. Gabby Bernstein is a guru. Much like many of the gurus we've already discussed on this channel. However, she's got a spiritual bend. She's definitely one of the more spiritual ones besides Teal Swan that we've discussed so far on this channel. She's an author of 9 books, I believe, in her pretty, short life. She's in her 40s. So she's written 9 books. She does not want you to forget that. She works harder than you. She's more accomplished than you.
I thought
not just
she's
you.
just a vessel or something, and
She's just a
some
vessel, but she's
spirit
also
writes
personally.
through her finger or something. I didn't quite get it.
Yes, she is just a conduit to spirit. However, she's better than you because she can accomplish more in 1 hour than the average person, which I consider myself an average person, can accomplish in a whole month. And she's accomplished more in her short career of like 10 years, 12 years, something like that. Or maybe now it's like 20 years because she's in her 40s. So she started when she was 20. So in her 20-year career, she's accomplished more than most people could ever accomplish in like several lifetimes. So just keep that in mind. She,
But
she's
isn't
not like...
isn't some spirit accomplishing it through her? Isn't she
And
useless? And the spirit is just doing everything.
and guess what? The spirit is male. So, she's a female. She's a woman that is guided by a male spirit, which is sort of ironic, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm
Do you have a
reading her
guess?
second book.
Oh,
Sorry, you guys, I'm sick, so I have a little bit of a fever and my voice is cracking, but don't worry. I hope I can
I'm
get through this.
alive.
Yeah, I'm reading her second book, Spirit Junkie. And so far, I'm really just unimpressed with Gabby's spirit that writes her books because it's just kind of not very good at writing. um, it's going back and forth. It's like not using many stories. It's like boring the hell out of me and literally just repeating the whole thing about fear on every other page. And I'm kind of sick of hearing about fear. Like at some point, she needs to move on to something else. So, the
She will.
spirit could take a course or something. I don't know.
Well, she's got courses for you, baby. She's got it all. If you want to learn something, she should probably take it herself. But she also teaches courses. That's a big part of her brand is course teaching, and they ain't cheap. So I've said it in my video, so I don't know if you watched it, but have you watched my video?
Oh yeah, of course.
You have? Okay, so you remember the name? Do you remember the name of her spirit guide?
Oh, like Michael or something?
Peter.
Peter. Oh yeah.
Peter the spirit guide. Okay.
Good old Pete.
Good old Pete.
Yeah.
It's in her ear.
But yeah, basically Gabby has really just kind of hyped up her books, and I find it like a bad strategy when you have bad books because you're hyping them up so much and then they really disappoint. But like that being said, I'm just reading the one and I've not finished it yet. So who knows? Maybe she improved, or maybe the spirit improved over time. But you know,
They became more all-knowing than previously. Her books, from what I understand, have become more personal as time has gone on. I'm trying to get my mic to not be so delayed. Hello. Testing 1 2. Okay, so she also says, and tell me what you think if you were to hear someone say this. She only has an 8th grade education, so don't blame her. Like, she became a New York Times bestselling author by only going through 8th grade English. Now, what does that mean to you? What would you assume her education career looked like?
well, I mean, I can tell you that she's gone to uni.
But,
'Cause she mentions
right?
her uni friends. Okay, she does do this in this book as well, where she says like, "I had no friends. I did not belong along my peers. Blah blah blah." And then she's like, "I threw a party when my mom left town, and 30 people like came over." And I'm like, "How can you get 30 people to come if you have no friends?" Because like,
Yeah.
I consider myself to have friends, but I would never like find 30 people to invite like to a
Never.
party.
Never in my entire life have I known 30 people that would come to an event for me. Ever.
Yeah.
Until now, this is a sponsorship for our next event called Happy Birthday, Kia and Cam, where we're going to host you in our apartment while our moms go away.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
$20,000.
So I was so confused. I was like, "Well, I thought you just didn't belong along your peers, blah blah blah," like because she makes such a big deal. And also, she says things like, "Oh, they're just gonna think I'm just the rich girl." I'm like, okay, it's one way
Wait,
to
wait,
like
she
brag.
says that in the book that she
Yeah,
was rich?
yeah, she's just a rich girl.
What the fuck? Okay, so I say that I'm shocked because I didn't read any of her books, and maybe I should wait to read the entire history of this person until I do a video. But that would be I would never post a video then. Um, she said that she told Tom Bilyeu on Impact Theory that she had a lot of financial insecurity when she was growing up, so she understands like the
Oh, maybe.
poor, like being poor, and then she manifested her wealth when she was 21.
What? Wait, because I was gonna say maybe she had financial insecurity and that says that she was just a rich girl and that's why people were hanging out with her.
That's not
Because
how
she
she made it
literally says,
seem.
I'll send you after the stream, I'll send you like the screenshot from the book. Because
Okay.
she literally said it and I was like, okay, I didn't realize I never realized she was rich until then.
I thought she was
So
rich from the beginning. I was like, this person seems like they've had wealth their whole life. And then I looked into it and I was like, yeah, that's what it seems. Because the way she makes it seem, I was shocked when she was like, we had a lot of financial insecurity. I was like, oh shit, all right. Maybe I've got it totally wrong. Maybe I'm being judgmental and like just, stereotyping someone who's, looks like they wear a lot of like Louboutin and stuff. Like maybe that happened later. But she's from Larchmont, New York, which is like a Long Island suburb, I believe, and it's one of the like wealthiest like per capita areas in the entire United States. So I mean that's also because it's so close to Manhattan. So a lot of people who like work in New York, which is obviously one of the best paying places if you're at the top end, if you're working for like Goldman Sachs, which not ironically, but her husband worked at Goldman Sachs for no, sorry, he worked at J.P. Morgan, but similar, high echelon, like financial firm. So she lived in the suburb of Manhattan, like in Long Island, so close to the epicenter of the world, in one of the richest cities. Now, I also gave her the benefit of the doubt, like, well, maybe she was the poor girl in a rich city, but now that her books
no,
say she
she
was a rich
literally
girl,
says she was afraid that people are gonna see her just a rich girl.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's even more sort of deceptive than I realized. Okay, interesting. All right, well, that's something. I feel like she downplays her life story quite a bit from just the free content that she puts online to make it seem like she's just like you. Very similar a la Rachel Hollis and Mel Robbins too did the same thing. Like they have a pretty good life or a pretty exceptional life, but they don't want that to come across. So they downplay. Like she went to college, Syracuse University, not a bad school, not like anyone can just get in there. It's like New York State's a pretty competitive like state for colleges, and going to Syracuse is a pretty good one. And the fact that she got in, she graduated, it shows she has a higher level education. Yet on every occasion, she'll say, I have no English experience, no writing experience. My whole literature career or my whole knowledge on writing is from 8th grade.
And I
That's
think that's because
deceptive.
she wants to appeal to people who have not written a book, who would probably have the like worries like that. Like, I've never written a book. I don't have an education in writing or creative, whatever. Like, I don't know how to do it. So she wants to appeal to those people to sell them whatever it is that she's selling. And um, she's downplaying her own stuff. It's false. It's false
It's a
advertising, in my
tactic.
opinion. I would say allegedly.
Totally, I agree. And I could say like, well, my math skills ended when I was just a child. It's like, okay, well, I took high school math when I was 17, but like okay, I'm not trying to sell, like, I became rich and I only took 7th grade math. It's like, all right, like, is that really relevant? Like, she makes these statements as if they mean something. And I guess it's up to the consumer to decipher that, you know, like, oh, she has an 8th grade education. Okay, what does that mean to me? And does it like affect me in that way of like buying this course? But she'll say things like, she said in another interview with Marie Forleo, that she sold her first book because she's so good at sales before she even wrote it. So how is it relevant that you had an 8th grade education because you already sold your first book before you even wrote one word down? So the writing doesn't really matter as much as the sales pitch from the book.
And that is like interesting because like that's the thing I find is more likely to have anyone succeed is more like in the marketing and just in whether or not you have an audience and whether or not you have like any capability to sell that is going to get your kind of a book commission, I guess. And that would make sense to me as a filmmaker because like I would sell the idea of a film and then get the
Before
commission
you,
and then make the film. So that makes sense to me. You sell an idea for a book, you go like I have an idea and I have like an audience or whatever. That's like that's like typical marketing,
typical.
I would say. And it but it's interesting because people don't really tell you about that stuff and you kind of think that you have to be a good writer or whatever or that those people sorry my voice
You're good.
or that those people who are like actually writing that means that they're good and they made it and they should be like held as examples of how to write and
Yeah,
at least in Gabby's case like the writing is like beyond
boring.
basic because it's not even Gabby doesn't even tell you stories like from her own life, like not enough to like keep it entertaining. She tells you like one story like very rarely, like every once in a while. And I'm just reading an entire book about this person and I'm like kind of halfway through and I'm like I still don't really know a lot about her.
Yeah,
Um and that's weird because it's not like a book about some sort of expertise in something. You know, it's not like if I'm reading a book about, I don't know, let's say the Cold War, I would expect information about the Cold War. I would not expect information about the
the
author.
author. Yeah,
Yeah, but Gabby is writing about her life, and so I expect information about her life, and I'm
yeah.
getting very little, and I'm just very like um unimpressed really.
She keeps things close to the vest while also being like, I'm very open and I tell everything and I'm very like authentic with my, readers and viewers. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of that manufactured imperfection. Like I share the things that don't make me look that bad and are also actually selling points as to why you should spend $3,000 on a course that I teach about how to write a book. So I think it's convenient, what you pick and choose to tell and say. And I feel like she definitely does that where it's like she'll say whatever, or she'll twist something. I mean, she comes from a PR background, so it makes sense. She's like a spin doctor, like we'll spin something into something it's not to make it more appealing to a potential consumer. So right now, if you were to follow Gabby, she's got a podcast called Dear Gabby where people literally zoom in and ask her questions. And she, from her own, like you said, life story and life advice will just tell them what to do. And the questions can range from, simple, like, how do I practice gratitude more? And she'll give her example, but also can be as serious as my mother is a drug addict and I feel unsafe. What should I do? Something like that along those lines where it's like, okay, you probably should be asking someone else this question, someone with expertise, or trying to get yourself into a better situation. Like, and she'll just say like, practice meditation. And, if you need like, and she will say like, if you need help, find help. But then she'll say, but, make sure that you like are soft on yourself. Like, I just feel like the line between therapist and self-help guru, spiritual guru is very much crossed with Gabby. She definitely feels like she's got all the answers for everybody.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
reading her book Spirit Junkie, I would say that it kind of comes across like Gabby needs her therapy, like desperately.
Yes.
Um, there's a few things in there that even I, like with like no training whatsoever, I can tell that she's got some like hold that have a little bit of a hold over her, like her relationship with her dad. But Gabby gaslights herself into thinking, no, my dad was totally fine. I just couldn't see it. Like, so I'm like, I don't, it just, I don't know. Like, there were a few things like that. And I was like, and then she moved on to how that relationship impacted her relationships with men in the future, like the romantic relationships. And so, and I'm like, so you still don't think that your dad just like, had a little bit, maybe a little bit of an issue? Or like, I don't know, she's like, no, like, completely asking people to gaslight themselves, like that was so, and I'm like, okay, this person needs therapy more than anyone.
Yeah. And she does claim she goes. Now, I don't know what type of therapy she's in. They always say like I have a suspicion too about Dave Hollis. He says like I'm in therapy, which he's called he's called triathlon coaches like, oh, I have a triathlon coach, and it turns out they're a life coach that does triathlons. So I'm very wary about people who say I'm in therapy, but then they mean that they're in life coaching or that they're in like a spiritual cult, and they're like, I'm in therapy because they're talking about their feelings, but I'm like, that's not the same thing. And it's also very dangerous to conflate the two and make it seem like, yeah, my therapist told me that I should just ascend past everyone else and go to the 5D, psychospace, and then I'll be healed. It's like, wait, your therapist said that? Yeah, her name is, Electra Goddess Sun, and she's
Oh my
wonderful. It's like,
god.
whoa. Okay.
um it's actually like Gabby's mom that was like so woo-woo and spiritual. So I wonder if Gabby ever has gone to therapy, because like so far, like, well, obviously I've not finished the book, and obviously there's like other books to read, but to be honest, like, I don't know how much of my life I'm going to dedicate to Gabby Bernstein. So
Yeah.
probably not
Same.
gonna read all 9 books. Like, let's just be realistic here. Unless I make it like a series over the next 2 years or something. Are you guys gonna
My
be up for
2-year
that?
journey into Gabby Bernstein's life. Um, yeah, I don't blame you at all. I need to order
Yeah.
her Happy Days one, her most recent one, because she apparently, which I think is wrong on many levels, to tease the book as like, I reveal my deepest trauma, read the book to find out what it is. But the marketing worked on me, so I'm like, I am intrigued to find out what it is, because she doesn't say it on any interviews. She just says like, this thing happened to me that I remembered as a child, and I talk about it in my book Happy Days. And so I'm like, what was it? Like, what was it? Get into detail. But I think she's hoping that you buy the book, and like, here I am, like, I gotta buy that book so I know what the fuck's going on.
Oh God.
So
Good
that's my
luck.
plan.
Enjoy. I
Thank
hope
you.
it's better. I hope the spirit has improved its writing skills.
Peter, have you gone to
Peter,
Gabby's class yet?
let's like invoke Peter. Peter, can you descend onto our podcast, please? Thank you. Mm. I don't know.
I wonder
La,
I
la,
always
la,
think
la.
about like when people are like, "Oh, my spirit guide." You know how they say like ghosts are always in the Victorian age for some reason, because that's like a creepy time. They're
Okay.
never like from the 80s or from like, like biblical time. They're always like Victorian children. I wonder if for spirit guides it's like names from the Bible, or like a certain, because like the name Peter started in a year on earth at some point. Like there was a time before Peter and a time after Peter. So like, why is her spirit guide from that time period? I
Is
wonder.
Peter like one of the apostles? Saint Peter. Sounds
I
like it
don't
would
know.
be. Sounds like it would be one of the apostles. Like, it sounds like a very common name. So the most common names come from saints, or well,
Yeah, I think it's
what is
Saint
believed to
Paul
be
sounds
saint
familiar, or Saint Peter. I'm mixing up the names. Oh my god.
Peter. Yes, Peter is
Oh,
definitely
Peter,
like is
Paul, and
definitely
Patrick.
he was definitely a saint, Peter, for sure, 100%.
So is Gabby. She's also a saint.
So, but but like, isn't spirituality like a different religion? Like, why why isn't the spirit
Yeah,
called something like Buddha or something? Like, I don't know. Why is
Swami.
it Peter from Christianity?
Beats me. I don't know. I mean, I guess
I've never
when
understood this crossover between spirituality and like it's always been beyond me. Like I'm always shocked every time.
There definitely is. I feel like there's elements of magic, as some would say, in Christianity, like the resurrection, the water to wine, the walking on water, the, I don't know, the multiplication of loaves of bread and fish and stuff. So there's been like magical elements strewn throughout, and it's magical to think like, oh, this being watches me as I sleep and knows all my secrets and like that sort of thing too. So I can see how it's a slippery slope. Someone said that earlier in the comments, like a slippery slope from believing in the Bible and believing in Noah's Ark was real, and like yet there's tablets that came down. Like those are physical things that happened on Earth, according to the Bible. To then believe like someone's in your head, and a lot of spirit talking was talked about in the Bible, like whisperings from above and angels coming down. So I guess I see it. I can see the crossover.
No, I can see the magical element, that's for sure, because that's like loads of it in Christianity. Um, but for some reason, I thought that Christians, at least, well, I guess like she wouldn't consider herself Christian, but like I guess Christians would have the ethics of like, no, I'm Christian, so I'm going to stick to Christianity. So I thought it goes the other way around as well, in as in like the spiritual people would be like, no, I'm spiritual, I'm not Christian, so I'm not going to cross over. So I always thought they have some ethics and they stick to their, there's like a border and they're not going to cross into it. You know what I mean?
Wrong. Incorrect.
Saint
Thank
Peter,
you.
Saint Peter is yeah, that's the one.
I know Saint Peter would call
I
my
have
name.
nothing to add to the inside joke there.
Peter
PP.
or Pete Her. Hi,
It's
we're a new
apparently
company.
Pretty Peter.
The one-eyed saint. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, so Gabby wants to make you the happiest person you know, which I think is funny because it also falls in line with our other guru favorites, like a Rachel Hollis, who wants you to be the most exceptional person and the least mediocre person in your life. So even though they'll say like, it's not a competition. Like everyone's welcome at all times and everyone's unique. However, we're in competition to be the happiest and the most exceptional and the best at all times. And you should strive for that at any given moment. So that's
Yeah.
Gabby's perspective. Not just don't be happy, be the happiest person you know, which to me seems like put yourself on a fucking level and see where you land.
Apparently there was like um psychologist who um as a joke wanted to not as a joke, ironically basically tried to classify happiness as a disorder and showed that happiness has like all of the all of the criteria to be a
Signs.
disorder, like it's abnormal. It's like all of those things,
Rare.
and
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but there was a point that he was trying to make, and in the way that they classify disorders. So he wanted to make to show that it's ridiculous the way that they classify them, and basically was like, here's why, because literally like happiness could be classified as one, and like I just found that to be like the most accurate thing I've ever read.
I like that. Yeah. Because we'll easily go, oh, the sadness, the anger, like that's a sign of a problem. It's like, what about the other side? Like I am so happy at all times. Like, okay, you need to find a middle ground at
Yeah,
some point.
that
That should not be
sounds
what we're
like you're
striving for.
high.
So you might wonder, how do I do that? Like, how do I become the happiest person I know? Well, Gabby has several resources for you to do that. You can join her Miracle membership. That's so fun. And apparently right now you can join the Body Love Challenge, which is sort of ironic that she has a Body Love Challenge. And I say that because she also offers a course basically on like eating better, or not
Yeah,
better, but like eating so that you don't diet,
disordered eating.
disordered eating essentially. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I
And
heard about this from Savvy, which is like a friend of our channel, and she's always like in the comments, so you guys who know her. Um,
Savvy,
that is
savvy. Yeah.
bad. That was bad. Like I did not see that from coming from Gabby, to be honest. I feel like that's crossing a bit of a line.
Yeah, and I don't know what's in it. I didn't pay the $200 that it cost to join that pre-recorded. She basically did like a live session somewhere and recorded it, and then now put that on her website, and that's the course. That's $200, and I think it's sort of. I guess I want to say the word rich, which is sort of mean, but I feel like it's sort of rich when people do a course about food or eating or something where it's like love your body when you're extremely thin and have been thin your whole life. It's just like how, you're someone who's got like disordered eating in the sense of like, I can't, eat in a way that's healthy for me. I don't like my body. Maybe she's talking about disordered eating. So it could be, the more serious and deadly ones of anorexia, bulimia. Like those are the types of people you're going to attract. What the fuck do you know, Gabby? As a skinny
Yeah.
woman who's struggled with those issues before, like what could you possibly tell people to do? Because you're still very thin. So what could she possibly say?
And she has literally no training in order to know how to deal with someone. And by the way she was doing this, at least based on Savvy's video, was she had like a live thing. It was like she was on stage or something and she was talking about it and she used that clip as the training. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
so
You just
you
doubled up
literally
on your.
have no idea who is in your audience, who is watching these things. You don't know how they're struggling with it, and they could be like a, an infinite number of problems that they're dealing with in that
Totally.
spectrum, and you're using that to say that your method. It's like even worse than just like a conference, because at least when you go to a conference you're there in the audience and you can, I guess, like you can, there is a possibility to talk to that person on stage, you're probably not gonna, because there's like 2,000 people there, but at least
Yeah.
you're there, so if you cross them in the hall, I guess you can speak to them. But when you're like in front of a computer, there is really just, she's not giving
One
you the option
way.
to be
Yeah.
like live with her, just like
No, she's not. Yeah. As
it's
far as I
it's
know.
literally just her like spewing information at you that may or may not work for her or for people who have the same exact issue as her, but you could have like a range of other things and try those methods and just go like even more disordered, and it's like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm so
I
sick of
100%
these
agree.
fake therapists. I'm just,
Yeah, they're all. That's what. It's unlicensed therapy delivered in a seminar form on the internet, and this is not a new concept. This has been like Tony Robbins went and did the seminar circuit for years. Would just go to hotels and advertise them in newspapers as like feeling down, want to learn how to like be a hot man, like this is the place for you, and he would just advertise it like that or whatever. Are you a loser? You should come to my seminar and learn. And he has no credentials. He just fucking makes it up as he goes and then sees what people like and what people don't like and then just does more of that. Like it's a very simple concept. But the fact that it's online now, it's easier to become these fake gurus and just, I could just make, like, I could be like, do you have bipolar disorder? Yeah, I don't, but I'm going to tell you how, like, you can heal yourself from bipolar disorder in 10 simple steps. Here, it's $1,000 and pay me, and I guarantee that you'll learn something. It's like, okay, no one's going to shut this down. I could do it and, like, convince people through marketing and advertising. Like, this is a wonderful and cheaper alternative than, like, a lifetime of, medication. Like that's the problem. Like there's nothing holding anyone back. The incentive is just to make a shit ton of money, and then once you get to a certain level, if you don't want to do it anymore, then just stop doing it. But then you keep all your money, and now you can go pursue whatever you want. And then the people in your wake just got to deal with the trauma that they've
yeah.
received. It's frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. Like Lauren is saying, her therapist is never afraid to tell her when something is outside of her expertise or scope of practice. Well, that's not going to happen with like Gabby or Rachel. They know everything. They know everything. Anything that you could possibly like need, they know. Nothing is outside of their scope of expertise. Like it's just ridiculous. Honestly, it's ridiculous. And then they come at you with like, it's just my eighth grade level English. Like, just get out of here. Like, I'm
Yes, I
so
agree.
sick of them.
Yeah,
Should we
yeah, and
watch like the video with her?
yeah, let's watch a video. And this is the course, just so you see what we're talking about, like how to have a healthy spiritual relationship with food. It's like, I looked at this photo. I'm like, she could not be skinnier. Looks like you're in her. You look like you're her right now, Cam. Looks like your head on her
No.
body. Like that's wonderful. Like, okay, but she looks tiny. She's like, how to have a healthy relationship with food. It's like healthy to you and your standards of, being your body. And maybe she is just naturally thin and that she can't help it. Like that's just how she, if she ate a million calories or that, how many calories she eats a day, like no matter what, she would look like that. But it's like, again, not everyone's going to be like that. So I cannot imagine that, her advice is going to be life changing for anyone but herself. If it is even is like helpful
if
to
it
her, because I
even
have a feeling it's not.
if it even is true, and I'm not saying that to just kind of like uh just randomly cast out, but like as she lies about like not being to university and stuff like that, what is to stop her from lying about having an ED?
Or overcoming it, which I think is the Heidi
Yeah.
Powell situation too, who's like, I've overcome eating disorders. It's like, how do you prove that? And how, people who are in the throes of one sometimes don't see that they are in one. So how can you be sure? You can't. So I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough
Yeah,
one. I
fair
just think,
enough. Like, guys, I'm totally with you on this. There's like, therapists that will also be like licensed and bad as well. But at least, you have more of a chance when you're going to someone licensed to get help than you do with these self-helpers who literally have no idea what they're talking about.
well, I think even if a therapist is not the match for you or bad in your opinion, or generally, like, let's just agree bad, at least you could complain and they could lose their license potentially.
Yeah,
Or if you
yeah.
said, hey, this was unethical, like there are like repercussions that that person would suffer. If I say Gabby's course gave me an eating disorder, nothing's going to happen because she's got no credentials to lose. It's not like, oh, she's no longer going to be a dietitian. She's just going to like go, okay, thanks for your suggestion, and then move on because there's nothing to lose. So I feel like no matter what, I'd rather go to someone with credentials, because if something does go awry, there's ways that you can rectify that in a more professional manner, as opposed to, oh my gosh, Gabby, said that this and that, and I took the advice and I ruined my life. It's like, well, shouldn't have listened to her, and then there's no sympathy for you at all, really, from
And
anybody, because it's
yeah,
like, well, you get what you pay for, I guess.
and at the risk of sounding like a broken radio, it's also the fact that the therapist, whether good or bad, they speak directly to you. So you are in direct contact with that person. While with Gabby, you're just one of 100, 1,000, 10,000, whoever knows how many people are in the audience. Like, you're never like on one with them. Well, maybe they pull you out of the audience and they put you on stage, like Mel Robbins has pushed that poor woman like on stage against her will. But you know what I mean? Like, it's always like a group setting, and they never get to know the people in the group, like the individuals and how they are individually. And I think this is why there's like such a big difference in going to like a one-on-one therapist, because at least they're talking to you. So I feel like, if you are decent decently good, you can just like talk to that person, get to know their personality, and then be able to like suggest some coping mechanisms or whatever like that work for them. But how will you ever be able to do that when you have 1,000 people in front of you? Like, there is just, it's
Can't.
impossible. It's like, there is no way you can do that effectively, aside from just like swearing, I swear this works, you guys, I swear this works. And then like, people will be like, oh, that sounds easy enough to remember, so that means it's genius. Like, that's, you know what I mean?
It's a life hack. It's amazing. This hack will get you to live 1 second longer. Let me show you. Yeah. I agree. And I feel, I think the concept to me is sort of like therapy is therapy when you're going to, in person or on Zoom, but you're speaking about your life is like writing in a journal, right? Like you're writing your life story, you're explaining, you're thinking about things, you're, giving your own interpretation. These self-help people, you're reading their book and expecting it to be your journal, and it's not. It's like you're consuming when you should be producing. And I think that's the
Yeah.
total difference, for me.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. You're not inputting, you're just taking in.
And I think that's like the problem. It's like you can consume all day and it's not going to help you to figure out your shit, most likely.
Yeah.
It can be a
Yeah.
part of it, but not the whole. At some point you need to put the book down and get the pencil out and then start to like, dissect your own shit a little bit. But,
Yeah.
these people don't make
Agreed.
money that way unless you're Rachel Hollis who sells the journals to you. So she's
And
she's tapped both sides of the market.
I think you're onto something there because like Tony Robbins talks for fucking ages on stage, and not just on stage, like any opportunity. Like he doesn't let people talk. Like you can't even talk when you've seen. I think we've done it the episode with Rachel here on Cringe-Fluencers, and she could not get a word in. It's like,
Yeah.
and Rachel speaks a lot, like so I just found it like
Yes.
shocking, and it's like, yeah, because they don't want you to talk. They're there to just sell you things, to like keep selling you on things. It's either the book or the conferences or the retreats or the whatever the YouTube videos. Like it's always like a ginormous like sales pitch. It never ends. There's more and more things to sell you. Any problem you have, Tony Robbins has the problem. You have financial problems, don't worry, he's got a book. You've got like problems with
Health
like your
issues. Yeah.
doctors, no, don't worry, he's got a book about that too. You've got this, don't worry, he's got a conference. You've got like, it's always just like they have an answer to everything, and it's just outrageous because who the hell has the answer to absolutely everything that could come at them? Like it's insane.
Gurus do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we watch the video, unless you want to watch the video first, but the New York Times kills it. Like these exposés, and they're like positive exposés, but they really reveal a lot more than I feel like the average like fluff piece does about these people. Because when we read Mel Robbins' piece in the New York Times, I felt like I understood her a lot better and who she is as a person. And I felt the same way about Gabby reading this one. So do you want to read this or do you want to watch the video
Yes.
first?
Let's
Read it? Okay.
let's read this.
Okay, so this was written fairly recently, 2019. So, not too long ago. But it says, Gabby Bernstein loves a routine. The self-help writer just wants you to live your best life. Okay, I disagree with that, but okay, whatever. It says, on a typical morning, the self-help guru, Gabby Bernstein, 39, so she's now 41, 42, is up by 7 a.m. So Rachel's been up for 2 hours. And then Gabby gets up. With her 9-month-old son, Oliver. We'll see if we get to that part about the son. But that's a whole part of her story about wanting to be a mother and her manifesting her baby. It's pretty concerning, and it was a big part of my video, and I felt really awkward about it because it's such a sensitive topic, but it's sort of important, and she really made it a big part of her life and brand. So maybe at the end we'll get to it. Anyways, her husband, Zach Rocklin, 42, an artist and the chief operating officer of his wife's company, is in charge of feeding him. That's when Miss Bernstein heads upstairs to her meditation loft, also known as an office, and their 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment in Alphabet City, which is in New York, I believe, New York City, to do the first of 2 20-minute meditations. Without my self-care practices, I'm a mess. I have anxiety. I feel disconnected, she said. Being a spiritual self-help author doesn't mean you have it all together. Okay, I can respect that. I appreciate the honesty, and that sort of. And like I said, her husband is the CEO of the company. He was formerly a financial advisor, I believe was his title, at JP Morgan. before that. So he's got biz experience. And again, not to bring her up constantly, but like very closely mirrors the Rachel Hollis, Dave Hollis, like idealized scenario where the husband is the CEO, the wife and, you know, is the leader and creator of content, and it's blissful, you know,
Yeah.
wedding,
Well,
marriage bliss and business bliss.
let's hope Gabby's marriage is not in that much trouble, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
don't
he's
like her,
totally
but I
out of the
don't wish
spotlight.
her to have a divorce, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And like I have seen like 2 photos of him ever. Even in this article, he appears in it, but he's facing away from the camera. So I feel like he's a private person. Wait,
That's
yeah,
good.
here.
That's good. Don't bring him in. Oh, that's him?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's him. That's like the most like there's one other photo I've seen of him ever, and or 2. Their wedding photo, but he's also turned away. There's one photo of him and her like posing, and then this one. So he keeps a low profile, but I think he sounds like a money guy, like a numbers guy. So he's probably happy with how things are going.
Yeah.
So it seems. Okay. Routine is integral to Miss Bernstein's self-care, which includes weekly acupuncture, a lymphatic drainage massage, emotional freedom technique, which is tapping, which is like a big pseudoscience. And it is pseudoscience. It is. But it helps people. Like Lindsay Lohan was a big tapper, apparently. And it's like you tap on different points and you think of something or you say a mantra. It's not like, it's kind of, yeah, it's like anything. It's like it's same with acupuncture. Like there's different points and you could tell yourself that it's helping. That she does that. She talks about that a
Okay.
lot. And EMDR therapy, she says it, quote, helps treat traumatic memories. She is also currently on a cleanse. No dairy, sugar, coffee, fungi, gluten, or carbs that are not simple grains.
Oh,
So, you know,
EMDR is something my friend does, but she's a therapist. So I don't know how she does it alone every day. That sounds like a bad idea. Don't know. Like it immediately makes me wonder, like, what's she doing? Because like that's not meant to be done like that often. I don't think it's meant to be done every day. I think it's meant to be done like a few times.
yeah. And so from my understanding, EMDR, and I talked about this a little bit in my video too. So EMDR is like so basically you have to be, or you're supposed to be a therapist first. And then EMDR is like an additional training. So, you know, if
Yeah.
you're a doctor
Yeah.
and you want to get specialized in something, or you want to have like a certain, I don't know, like you already have to go through medical school and then you get this training. So like the same thing with therapists with EMDR, you have to be a therapist first and then you get the additional EMDR training, which is used for like PTSD and traumatic
Yeah.
event therapy. And it has something to do with like your eye movement and like
Yeah. Yeah. It's
re-examining the,
called eye movement desensitization. What's the R for? I forget what the R is for.
I
But
forget.
it's like, but it's you're meant to do it with the assistance of a therapist who knows, like who's done the training and knows. Like my
Yes.
friend would have a client. She's like a therapist. She has done the EMDR training, so she could get like a client in and like walk them through the EMDR. But like you're not meant to do it alone. I don't think.
Yeah. No.
I don't
And
know
she
how she
says she
does it
does it.
alone.
Well, she says she does it with a therapist, and like acupuncture, she does with a therapist.
Every
And
day?
I think, I don't know, it might not be every day. Weekly, it says weekly acupuncture, so maybe that means weekly EMDR. But she also has said, like when she did a podcast with Dave Hollis when Dave Hollis returned from his, you know, break from the internet, and she said, "Oh, I'm trained in EMDR," and I thought that, or no, well, I shouldn't say that. She said she was trained in IFS, which is internal family systems, which is another therapy technique that, again, you have to be a therapist first, and then you can, facilitate this. Like, it's not just like I'm trained in Tony Robbins life coaching. Like anyone can get it and start it at any point. So she sort of uses these techniques, but without the entire background of being a therapist first. And I don't know, the EMDR thing, she kind of makes it seem like it's a miracle cure. A lot of times she'll say like, oh, everyone could benefit from it. And I've heard that that's not true. It's a very specific technique that's used for like PTSD and traumatic
Yeah,
events. If you don't have
yeah,
that, you don't need it necessarily.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was told by my friend. But I would I'm just curious sometimes with people like Gabby, like with all the freaking effort that it takes to like pretend that you're a therapist, wouldn't you just be better off like going through the freaking studies and becoming one?
I
Because
know.
it's just like they're spending years like being like, oh, I got, a little diploma on this like nonsense from somewhere. It's like not
Trained.
even
Yeah.
like a tiny little bit makes you, it doesn't even get you like 10% closer. And it's like they're spending so many years on that and they have so much money. Like, why aren't they just going through, if they're so keen to be therapists and to help people, why don't they just become therapists? Like, but the thing is,
Yeah.
I don't think they
They
want
don't
to
want to
do
be.
it because there's not enough, as much money in that. Because then,
Can't
if you are
scale
a
it.
therapist, there's like an ethics code, and then you will train people one on one. Which that's not what Gabby's interested in doing. She's not interested in training you one on one unless you're paying like 10 grand. Like she's
Yeah.
going to
Or
train
more.
like 100 people at once, and that's not ethical for a therapist to do. I don't think so.
No, I
It's
agree.
like, I don't know.
They're
I'm
business people first, and they're not
yeah,
stupid when it comes to
yeah.
business, and it doesn't make sense, especially when there's there's no incentive not to do what they're doing. They make millions of dollars potentially by regurgitating advice that they read from therapists and other self-help gurus, and people eat it up like it's fucking porridge that's, being handed out by the government. Like, I don't know, like people just keep spending money on this shit. And I understand I was one of them. That's the problem. It's like I'm, like the culprit too. I'm the problem, because I don't know. It's like we're convinced like we have to figure out all of our issues right now, or else we're not like whole people. And I feel like the pressure of that makes people like this so appealing. It's cheaper to like take this course for $300 and like actually go to a facility and deal with my eating disorder. Like, I get the appeal. It's just, I don't understand how, and maybe, I don't know, like how they don't feel bad about it. Like how Gabby doesn't feel guilty. Like I wish, I should go to school to learn like the correct way to deal with these issues so I could really help people as opposed to just making money. But, to each their own.
I mean, if that means helping fewer people and making so little money, that's not appealing. That's just not good enough,
They all say,
like,
if my work changes one life, it's worth it. It's like,
yeah, right. Like
fucking,
they don't
yeah,
want to
right.
change anything.
Like, yeah, why don't you actually get to know one person, one of your fans closely, because you don't know any of them. Anyways,
Yeah.
and then also like to say like in the course, like I've healed myself, I have freedom from eating problems. Okay, so why are you on a cleanse with no dairy, sugar, fungi, gluten, or carbs? It's like that doesn't sound very free to me.
That
That sounds
sounds
very
like a
strict.
diet to me.
Yeah, what the hell? Okay, let's go
Okay.
on. Miss Bernstein's apartment is wellness proofed. On the dining room table, a bowl holds several boxes of loose crayons. Should someone want to write down an intention? The room includes photos of Oprah, crystals, and a sleeper couch used solely for meditation. Her routine also manifests through the musical mantras she listens to on her iPhone, the visualization work, and the bedtime rituals, prayers, positive affirmations, deep breathing, and a gratitude list. She physically, emotionally, and mentally disconnects from her electronic devices. Her phone remains in another room, tucked into its own small bed, complete with a silk pillow and sheets. It was designed and given to her by Ariana Huffington, a personal friend. We need to cover Ariana Huffington at some point because she's come up a couple times
Oh,
in things.
yeah, I've come across her a while ago. Yeah, probably. I
Look
don't
at this
know a
image.
lot about her, but it seemed like she was somewhat connected to the self-help stuff.
She like launched Jay Shetty's career, to
Oh
my
my,
dismay.
oh,
Yeah, but look
lovely.
at this. Look, Cam, look at this.
This is just like
This
cringe
is
as fuck.
ridiculous. This iPhone is sleeping better than like 90% of
So
the
this
country.
is Gabby emotionally disconnecting from her phone by tucking it into a bed like a baby. That's her emotionally disconnecting from the phone. Okay,
Says,
sure.
this is the caption. Miss Bernstein putting her phone to sleep in a tiny bed complete with sheets. The phone bed was a gift from her friend Ariana Huffington. Like, can you imagine this? Like,
What?
photographers, like, okay, like, let me get a different shot of this iPhone tucked into a bed. So stupid. It's like performative. Can I tell a story about an in-person thing that happened to me once? A performative self-help thing?
Yeah, of course.
There's this guy who I was working for, and he's young. He's like my age. And I was doing the video for his company. And the night before, they said they were doing like a basically like you pull a card, and then on the card it's like a question, and you have to, it's like deep question, like what makes you cry, what makes you happy, like what are your dreams, like goals, like, you know, and it was supposed to be like everyone just open up and share. Anyways, so one of the card he pulled was like, what's something that you know you need to do but you haven't done it yet or something. And he said, I need to be intentional with my time, I need to put my phone down more. Okay, fine. So the next morning, he's like, I really care about like making like what I say come true, and like being honest and doing it, and like not half-assing it. So like, I'm not going to touch my phone until 2 p.m. today. I was like, okay, cool, bro. Like, great. So, but his fucking alarm goes off. This is during a meeting. His alarm goes off. He's like, I can't touch it. Can someone please turn my alarm off? So like now we're all distracted by this guy's phone blaring like, "Mah, mah, mah." He's like, I can't touch it. I made an intention. I'm going to be more mindful. I'm like, bro, we can't even fucking think. Your phone is like, you know, going, ah, and like someone, like the guy next to him had to like go into his pocket, pull it out, and like click off. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm so glad that you're so intentional with your, you know, thoughts, that you're forcing other people to like handle your tasks for you. Like what a sage, you know, sacrifice you've made. So
Wow.
this reminds
Yeah,
me of that. Like the performance is like more than the actual message behind it.
he really proved something there. I am
It's a
just
performance,
beyond
you know?
impressed.
So stupid. Just to be like,
I
look,
can't
I want to
even
be
put
more
my phone down
intentional.
for like 1 second. Like I'm just
Like, oh my God. I'm so glad I put this on the table for one moment. Now I'm a better person than you are.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know. Like, just to me, it's like, if you want to like put your phone down, put your phone down. But do we have to really take a photo and put it in the New York Times of it being tucked into bed? Like, to me, that's just performative. And maybe I'm being harsh, but it's just like, I get
I
what you're saying, but does it have to go to this length to prove that you're doing it?
I think this is more like, the journalist being like, okay, this is so weird that like we need to put it in.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that she has it, like, you know, how could you not include it? But it's just wacky.
That's that's just so random. Like, can't
I
you just
know.
get like a charger? Like you need a bed. Can't you get like a metaphorical bed, which is the charger?
Well, apparently people in comments disagree. They want the
You
phone
guys
bed.
want the phone?
So
But I
they're
don't
like,
even
we
have
love it.
space for like my own stuff. Where am I gonna put like the phone stuff?
Why stop with the
Imagine,
bed? Just make a
imagine
phone
get
mansion, a phone kitchen, a
just like
phone
like the
bathtub.
doll mansions like from before.
Everyone really wants a dollhouse, but they're like, well, I'll settle for the iPhone bed. That's fine. I mean, I am judging you guys, but it's okay. You're allowed to have your own thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, don't worry. Merch coming soon. Phone beds on the way.
We'll make little teddy bears of like all the influencers, and you can collect them all. You can put them and tuck them in next to the phone. Different sheets. We can have like custom sheets.
With our sheets with like Tony Robbins' like angry smile, like ah.
Tony just spitting out into the crowd in your bed. Oh, that's funny.
Oh God, I can't believe it. It's hilarious.
Okay, let's move on. Let's continue on the journey of Gabby. Okay, on Tuesday, Ms. Bernstein will release her 7th book. Okay, so since 2019, she's released 2 more books apparently. On Tuesday, Ms. Bernstein will release her 7th book, Super Attractor: Methods for Manifesting a Life Beyond Your Wildest Dreams. It's been 10 years since her first book was released, and Ms. Bernstein, a devotee of Marianne Williamson, who people in the comments were talking about because she also is like sort of in this wacky world
Oh,
of A Course in Miracles, and everything's meant to be blah blah blah. So she
she's
was.
like, sorry, go on.
No, go for it. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say in this book I'm reading, she wrote the preface for the foreword for the book. But not only did she write that, but like Gabby put her name on the cover. It says forward by Marianne Williamson on the cover. And also,
Interesting.
Gabby mentions the course like 100 million times. I've literally underlined it because I want to count it at the end of the book. I've put it like in like pink highlighter because I want to see it. And I'm telling you, a
That's what I
hundred
do too.
percent I can bet this is affiliated. There is no way it's not affiliated because this is way too pushed. What is that?
It's my pink highlighter in the self-help books. That's what I also do, like highlight different things that are in pink for some reason. Yeah, no, I think A Course in Miracles, a lot of gurus, and I'd say a lot, but like the big mainstream ones, pull a lot of their teachings from it. And also cults apparently also take A Course in Miracles pretty seriously. If you listen to the Conspirituality podcast, it comes up quite a bit. So it's interesting. And it was like a woman from the 70s course, or it's not even a course, it's like a book, and it's called A Course in Miracles. And there's been a lot of devotees that have come and decide. It's like
Yeah,
basically like, I'm going to teach from The Secret. I'm going to teach like from the whatever, the Bhagavad Gita. Oh my God, that's not how you pronounce it, but like it's sort of a framework, and then you put your personal twist on it. Like Marianne Williamson did her twist on it as like I don't know, she's like in her 50s now, 60s, in that generation. And then Gabby was going to do it for like millennial women. She was going to teach A Course in Miracles to us.
right. Well, you will not convince me they're not affiliated. Like I'm just
I
not
think it's
easily
just a
convinced of
book
it.
though. Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like I'm going to teach from the Bible. It's like you're promoting the Bible, but I don't know if it's like a kickback situation. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it is.
Well, maybe it is just a book, but I think that they all have like other like products. But it's impossible to mention it at like every freaking step like that all the time because it got so like exhausting to read. Like, of course, the course says that the course. I'm just like, fucking shut up about the course and
Yeah.
just tell me something about yourself.
Tell me a story, please. I'm reading this book to hear about your life. Yeah, yeah. And she sort of like tapered off from it, but in her early works, like if we do get to the Oprah video, she talks about A Course in Miracles there. Her TED Talk, she talks about A Course in Miracles. So she brings it up in person as well.
Okay.
Okay. And Wayne Dyer still wants to give others the same transformation they had given. So, okay, I don't know, whatever. Wayne Dyer is another person we should cover at some point. Super Attractor is different from her previous best-selling books, most of which are about spirituality, self-help practices, and how to take inspired action now. Instead, it offers a positive, upbeat tone, more metaphysical than self-help, teaching the reader to attract what they desire. So The Secret with a new twist, which is basically just different words. In 2005, Miss Bernstein, a nightlife publicist and an owner of Spark Plug Communications, was sitting on the floor of her West Village apartment one morning, still altered by the drugs and alcohol she had consumed the previous evening. It's a moment she calls her rock bottom. Quote, I hadn't been to sleep yet, and I was staring at the stack of self-help books I had, trying to find a solution, she said. I was going nowhere. I needed a miracle. That day, I called a friend who I knew was sober and went to a meeting. I've been sober since. 6 months later, so 6 months after getting sober from cocaine and alcohol, which she says was a problem in her life. 6 months later, she was giving talks, not on sobriety, but on spirituality. She was speaking about the self-help methods she had incorporated into her life, her personal transformation. Without formal training, of course, Miss Bernstein rented space at the Soho House, which is so fucking expensive and very, exclusive, and filled the room with 40 people. She began booking her own speaking engagements. People came. They stayed and listened. It spun from there. So she obviously had some money to be able to book space at the Soho House to deliver her spiritual transmissions.
She's just a rich girl, huh?
She's just a rich girl. She wants to be more than that. She's not claiming to be, okay, I'm not claiming to be a psychiatrist. Okay, good.
Okay, that's good. Well,
wonderful.
I guess the bare minimum is done.
I'm not claiming to be a medical doctor or someone who helps you get off your medication, she said. I'm helping people establish what a spiritual relationship means to them. Since she first started writing self-help books, the wellness industry has changed. At the time, Miss Bernstein said she was the youngest voice in the room. Self-help wasn't the big trend it is today. It wasn't something people talked about regularly. Today, the wellness industry is highly commercialized and commodified. People are focused on feeling better, Miss Bernstein said. It's no longer new. It's relevant. People can now speak unapologetically about their beliefs and people will understand. I think that's true almost to a fault, because I feel like people now, especially on like Instagram, are like so comfortable going, I just received a message from Source Energy. It says that everyone with blonde hair is a bitch and should just go and like unfollow me right now. That's what they said. And they also said that you should buy my course for $7,000. And I am like a reincarnate of, Joan of Arc. And they're totally comfortable saying that with no shame whatsoever. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing.
No, I would agree. But I don't understand what's with the obsession for them to say that they got in early. Like it's a pyramid scheme. Like, oh, I was there like when it wasn't popular. Like, okay, dude, like, so? Like, they all say that. Like Tony Robbins says it. Who else said it? I've heard it a lot, I feel. I'm not really thinking right now. Like, it's not coming to my mind. But I feel like, oh, Marie Forleo has said that like life coaching wasn't even a thing when she discovered this article. And she was only
Yeah.
23. It's like, okay, what's with this obsession to be like, yeah, I was one of the first. Just so you know, like I'm not in it just for the money. I was in it from the beginning. Like, okay.
I was a life coach before life even began. In utero, I was the first womb coach.
I was a life coach before I even got healed.
That's true in like all of the cases. I became a life coach before I realized my own problems. But now I'm 20 years removed and I'm still going to be a life coach. Like, okay, cool.
And I still have all the problems.
Yeah. I'm actually worse than I was before. Oh, well, buy my course.
$997 for your
Don't be
disordered
concerned.
eating.
Don't be concerned that every 2 years I say
helpful, I promise.
that. Yeah. Every 2 years, it was my rock bottom. And I've been in this industry for 20 years. Don't think about that. Just keep buying. Okay. Anyways.
Since I got in this industry, I started having all the problems. So I started to teach courses on all of them.
You know how they say if you want to get better at basketball, just become a basketball coach and therefore you will become a better basketball player? That's my method. Instead of learning, I'm going to teach.
Wow, imagine.
I'll teach you how to also be a teacher. Join my pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't see much of a difference between what Gabby does in The Secret, like at all.
No, it's The Secret, but with my own thoughts, like my own personal
It's
brand.
The Secret with crystals.
Yeah, it's The Secret with a little bit more meditation. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways. She believes in the mission of Goop. We need to also do Goop. We need to add the Goop and Gwyneth Paltrow to
Yes,
this
we need
list.
to do Goop. I want to do it. Oh my god, let's do it at some point. It's so fun.
Okay.
Well, I guess
Agreed.
it's not as dark as others. We need to break from dark topics.
Maybe. I mean, she definitely promotes Goop promotes the fucking medical medium, which is like my least favorite influencer of all time, I think. Like, I think I hate the medical medium more than I hate Teal Swan, which is saying a lot.
No. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Because at least she, not to say like something good about Teal Swan, but at least she is sort of open about her like toxic ways. The medical medium literally hides and like has no information, doesn't say anything about his life, and like just like, I don't know. He's worse to me. Maybe I'll change my mind after like reading more about him, but like there's something about him just like drives me nuts because he targets the most vulnerable people, which I think are even more vulnerable than the people that Teal targets, which is like the medically vulnerable, like people who have cancer, people who have like very debilitating diseases. Like, how dare you try to sell them your quack, like bullshit teachings? It's you're taking a person who's scared of dying because they have a real illness and you're gonna take money from them. Fuck you. That's how I feel. Anyways.
Yeah, agreed. That's very, very bad.
Yeah, so not my favorite. And Goop is like, we thumbs up for this guy. We love him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. Gabby, back to Gabby. Gabby believes in the mission of Goop and the messages of other prominent wellness-focused companies, many of which she's partnered with. For Miss Bernstein, the word wellness is an umbrella term that includes self-care, self-help, and spiritual practice. She falls into the spiritual sphere. I'm not going to teach you how to make green juice. I'm going to teach you how to know what God means to you. How? Okay. Ms. Bernstein believes there's guidance beyond our physical sight. Quote, when we change our thought patterns, we change our energy, and that's when things begin to happen. That doesn't mean she lives in perfection. I can be judgmental. I curse too much. I can be aggressive. Didn't she write a book called Judgment Detox?
But obviously she learned from this.
Oh, okay.
And she's
Okay,
now
so
teaching
she
you
did-
because
She
she's
did
now
the
an
detox.
expert. Every
Didn't
time,
work, but
okay. So she imagine just like her being like Regina George and being like, "Oh my God, look at that, like new girl, blah blah blah," and then being like, "I learned something yesterday from myself. So here's a course. It's only like $397. I'll teach you how not to be judgmental to the new girl."
oh my God.
Literally,
I
like they
learned.
become experts overnight. Overnight.
My own experience of judging everyone in my life, I am now going to teach you how not to do that while I remain the same.
Don't worry, I'll learn more lessons while being judgmental and I'll keep shilling things in the future.
The course promised you'll change. I never promise that I will change. Buy it.
The course is for you, not for me.
I did this from the kindness of my heart. I will remain as a judgmental bitch. But you can change.
You, however, you need to change that bullshit.
Oh, this is just for you, not for me. Okay, her life today. On a recent day, Miss Bernstein completed an afternoon meditation in Tompkins Square Park, walked to the health food store, bought a handful of groceries and a green juice, and was stopped on the street by a friendly fan before she returned to her apartment. She has a nanny who takes care of her son while she does her daily routine, which includes working from her office at the East Village Soho House, Ludlow House. So she works from,
Why did they put it in quotation marks, office, as if it's not an office?
working from her office.
From her office, the coffee shop.
The Ludlow House, I don't know. All I know is Soho House is like exclusive and expensive. That's my only knowledge of that.
But that's okay because Gabby is poor, so it's fine.
Yeah, she manifested her money at 21, so, she deserves it now before
They let her in
was
as
poor.
like charity.
Yeah, they felt bad. They're like, oh, poor girl. She's hearing voices in her head named Peter. Okay, let her in. Let her in. She seems nice. She'll be fine.
Exactly.
Okay. Her minimally decorated Manhattan home was originally owned by the musician Iggy Pop. Ms. Bernstein said of the space, which they have rented from his ex-wife, actress Suchi Asano, since 2010, The couple's main residence is in Litchfield County, which includes a sacred meditation space. So they have an apartment in Manhattan or Alphabet City or whatever the fuck. And then they have a primary residence in Litchfield County, which I guess is like a suburb, I would imagine.
Okay.
Cool. At 4 p.m., her lymphatic drainage therapist, Adriana Giorgio, who she's been working with for the last year, arrived and set up the massage table in the living room. Miss Bernstein changed out of her clothing and slipped under the sheets. Ooh, sexy. Some of my struggles fall into that vast category known as
my God.
unspoken shame.
Can we jump from like her having like lymphatic therapy and like a meditation for 2 hours and acupuncture for 2 hours, and then 4 p.m. hits after she spent like half an hour at the sofa house. 4 p.m. hits and her massage therapist comes, and then she talks about some of my struggles. Shut up. What struggles? Because from like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. we've only seen like just like luxurious experiences that I can only afford every like 3 years.
Literally paradise. Adoring
Yeah.
fans come up and like, want to take a picture with you, and then you get a green juice, and after your meditation in the park, and your nanny takes care of your kid all day. Like that sounds pretty ideal. She's like, but let me tell you I'm just like you.
My struggles are like in
took me-
between my massages and the Soho house. I had to like walk my 10,000 steps, and it's just like a lot of steps, you guys.
Yeah, and she doesn't eat carbs, so it must be difficult. She doesn't eat dairy or gluten at this time, so she's gotta be needing some energy at this
So
point.
sad. Yeah.
I feel bad. Yeah, she's got it rough, for sure.
Yeah.
So okay, well, and we are about to get into like sort of a serious accusation that she's making, but again, we don't know what it is because she doesn't reveal it until 2 books after this article is written. So. Anyways, she goes, some of my struggles fall into that vast category known as unspoken shame, she said, referring to her realization in 2016 that she had been sexually abused as a child. Real shifts occur when we stop chasing wellness and become brave enough to look deeper. According to Miss Bernstein, Oliver's birth was pain-free. That's her son. Oliver's birth was pain-free thanks to hypnobirthing, a self-hypnosis technique used to release fear and pain during labor. The pain didn't take me down, she said. She's been vocal too about her difficulty conceiving, which took 3 years. I use mantra visualization that you practice while you're pregnant to prepare for labor and delivery, which you do during delivery. 2 months later, depression, anxiety attacks, suicidal thoughts, and severe insomnia engulfed her. I looked at my son and couldn't recognize him, she said. Of all the bottoms I've hit, this was the worst of the bottoms. I was agoraphobic. I couldn't socialize. I couldn't be comforted. I was terrified. Okay, so a lot in that little section there. So
wait, did she not like meditate her depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts away?
well, she says that it's different because it's a chemical imbalance. So
For her,
meditation
it's
doesn't work.
different.
Yeah, meditation doesn't work in that case.
No, but
So-
for everyone else, like
Everyone
totally.
else, it's okay. She's like, I never, she says this to Lewis Howes, which I roll. She's like, I never understood what it felt like to have such severe depression. So it's really eye-opening. It's like, you've been telling people how to heal your depression for like 10 years, how to heal your anxiety. I never experienced it. It really is worse than it looks. It's like,
Yeah,
Girl.
no kidding. Why did you think we were all lying? Like,
yeah, like, just
mind
meditate, girl.
blown, you guys. Depression
meditate.
is hard. Did you guys know anxiety like makes you anxious?
Shocked. I'm shocked.
Wow.
Utterly.
Captain Obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that she's, and the whole thing with the childhood trauma thing, there's some, we talked about that with Teal because it was similar, like it's like repressed memories that she didn't think about for 40 years and all of a sudden she remembers. Is that true or not? It's hard to tell. She's not telling exact details about who she did this because she says in some other interview that she did it with a therapist. It came out in a therapy session because she had a memory of it. But, again, that's been debated whether that's a real thing or not. Like if someone has suggested something to you, especially if they're doing EMDR, like is there something there that could make her think that she was abused as a child? I don't know. And they didn't say, at least in this, who did the abuse or where, was it a family? We don't know.
Well, no,
So,
because
and
she had the
that's,
book to sell, so
yeah, gotta read the book to
like
find
just give it
out
all away for the article.
for
Like, come on.
free. Yeah.
Like, she's a better businesswoman than that. Duh. Like, she's not just gonna like uncover some trauma and not use it for, her own articles or her own
Her money.
courses and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So I
I
do feel bad if it's true, and the only thing that I say, like, well, if it's true, because there is so much controversy around repressed childhood sexual abuse, especially memories, that I just want to err on the side of, I don't know, because this is not a proven method of, figuring out what's gone on in your life. Also, she said in a Tom Bilyeu interview, she doesn't remember anything from the time she was 0 to 15.
Yeah, I don't think that's true because in Spirit Junkie, she says that she remembers something from when she was 8. When her dad, she had a TV commercial and her dad noticed her for the first time. So,
She was in a TV commercial?
yeah, well, I don't know, but she got at least accepted, like, based on that. The stories they're not, she's not giving you details. Like it's just
Yeah.
imagine like one half a line or something, and you're like, oh, I just got a glimpse into her life, and you're like,
Little
Is she
crumb.
gonna say any more?" And it's like, no, now we're back to fear and ego and like, so
These big
no,
terms.
but
Yeah.
basically, yeah. So when she was 8, she said that she got an audition or something, or she got accepted in a TV commercial, and she remembers that's her first time that her dad noticed her, and but then gaslights herself to think that her dad did everything right. Just like, I'm like, except noticing you and loving you. Okay.
Yeah. Except the real things that are accurate. Yeah.
Except like being a good dad. Okay.
It's hard. I don't know why that's a thing. I found that I just listened to a review, so I didn't read the book, but Amy Schumer apparently has the same issue, the comedian, where like her dad was an alcoholic, a cheater, all this stuff. She's like, I understand him. I get it. He didn't mean it. But then her mom, she's like, oh no, my mom is a total bitch. And like, she did everything to fuck it up for me. And like, she forgives her dad totally. And he really did a lot of bad things. And then her mom was like telling her daughter about it, like telling her what happened. And she's like, oh no, like
Yeah,
my
because
mom telling me about it was worse. It's very weird.
not even surprised. Because if you're a woman and you speak out against a man, like, how fucking dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
That's a man, okay? We cannot insult men. There could be a man
Yeah.
in there. Okay. um, I don't have to read all these, but basically here she says she, because of the postpartum with her son, she got on Zoloft, which she had not been on previously, which is safe for breastfeeding. So that's why she got on Zoloft, and that's been a pill I've been on before. I have not been
Me
postpartum,
too.
but definitely Zoloft worked for me at times. And then she says, I would have killed myself if I wasn't on it. The medication helped me feel safe enough to go to a deeper place. Her next book, which she's
Actually,
still working on.
I would argue the medication makes you go to a very shallow place, but okay.
Yeah, yeah. It
It's just
allows
that
you
you're
to
not
just,
feeling very deep.
yeah,
In Europe, it's called sertraline, but it's a lot ingredient.
generic.
Um, and I was on it for like 6 months, and I would say it's probably like you don't feel as intensely on it. Like, so I'm not sure what deeper places is she talking about because like.
Well, I guess like if you were in like very, therapy, like, every day while on it, maybe you could like talk about it and not freak out. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what she means here with that. Like, I don't know. Who knows? Her next book, which she's still working on, A Way Through Every Block, is a modern take Kundalini Yoga Sutras teaching them in a current way as they apply to people's lives today. And that's the Kundalini is the one where a lot of the practitioners wear the white outfits and then the white turban, and it's like their songs. They sing songs and do poses that are sometimes uncomfortable and like hold their hands up for like hour. No, I don't know about hours, but like, you know, a long period of time. It's interesting. I did it once, or I did a Kundalini class once. It was different. Definitely more intense than regular yoga.
Okay.
Anyways. Wait a second. Okay. An hour later, Miss Bernstein's treatment was finished. The table was folded up and returned to its original spot behind the bed. She hugged and thanked Miss Giorgio, who returned the embrace. Quote, I'm close to freedom. If you're brave enough to do the deeper work, to have an exorcism and have a spiritual foundation that can support you, you can go there, she said, sounding relaxed from the treatment. Quote, I'm going to live to tell what it feels like to be free of trauma. I'm going to have a book about it, which I believe is Happy Days, which is what she says, like how I became trauma free, essentially. So, yeah.
So then it was time for dinner and they went to the Ritz.
They went to Soho, Nubu or whatever.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it. That was the day over, you know.
Yeah, she
Time
just
for a
wants
new
you to be
day.
happy.
Yeah, like her.
Okay. This is Gabby. That's not Gabby on screen right now. That's another person. But Gabby got sort of famous because of Oprah, as we've heard many, many a time in this world. Oprah is like the catalyst from fringe spiritual self-help, you know, metaphysical shops into the mainstream. Oprah is that catalyst. And
Yeah.
here, once again, Gabby got to speak on her stage. So I blame Oprah for all of these problems.
I know.
This was from 2017, I believe. Yes, 2017, May. This was posted.
Okay.
So
I feel like
I
Oprah
picked,
will claim us, I think. If it's on
you think,
own.
well, oh, if we play the whole thing.
I don't know. Should we
It didn't
play
get
it?
copyrighted in my video. I played it a few different times. We can always cut
Okay.
the segment out.
Okay.
We'll try it. Okay, so this is her. I picked this one because I think it kind of summarizes her beliefs fairly well, and like how out there, in my opinion, she goes with the spirit guides and all that shit. So, you know, here we go.
Gabrielle's session is called The Universe Has Your Back. Gabrielle Bernstein.
New Year's Day of 2015, I had a plan. My plan was to get pregnant. I had it down, it was perfect. I was gonna get pregnant right away in February. I was gonna take the entire 9 months to write my book, The Universe Has Your Back, and I was gonna give birth in the fall, and then have the baby, give birth, submit the book, then take 3 months off with my baby, and go on a book tour. Perfect plan, right? Perfect plan.
Is it? I don't know.
The only problem was I wasn't getting pregnant. Month after month, I wouldn't get pregnant, and I'd start counting 9 months ahead. I'd start looking at what I had ahead of me. I'd start thinking, okay, I've got this speaking engagement, I've got this contract I've got to deal with, and I started canceling those contracts and canceling those speaking engagements. I started driving my publishers crazy because I was trying to change the publication date of the book. I was driving my husband crazy because there's absolutely nothing sexy about trying to make a baby happen on your timeline.
Okay, once again, this is completely at odds with The Secret, because what she's doing is totally right according to The Secret. Like, if you want a car, you're supposed to, like, if you want a new car, you're supposed to go to the garage every day and pretend that it's there and like act like it's there. And so the fact that she's changing dates for her book to prepare for her pregnancy, like that is what The Secret teaches you to do. Like that is what law of attraction is. Like you fake it till you make it. You bring it to your life. Like you do all the things that she's doing. So the fact that it didn't work makes no sense in that context.
It also feels very much like she's trying to like, be overly controlling of a situation. Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand, why do you need to have the child? Like, why can't you just like continue with your book, go on your book tour, whatever, keep trying to get pregnant? Like, I'm not sure. I feel like she wanted to have like that perfect story of like, I gave birth to both my baby and my book at the same time. And like,
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to control literally like her own life,
And
in
the
order
life
to
of her
make that
son.
like, that like amazing story that sells happen. And it just like sounds very controlling to me. Like, you can't control like things like that. It's
Well, like I said, she does think she's better than everyone else. She thinks she is superior to the average person. And she's talked about that a lot on multiple platforms in different ways. So I think she does believe like, I'm better than everyone because I have this like intense spiritual practice. I made so much money. So that's more confirmation bias that, oh, what I'm doing is the right thing. So a normal person like taking a year or two to like conceive and you can't control how it works. For average people, for her, she can like decide, I'm having a baby tomorrow and that's gonna be amazing. Like, that's what I think. She's like, I'm different. That's her perspective.
yeah, and that sounds very bad right now.
Yeah.
In the
But of
current
course,
political climate, it sounds
yeah. But of
just,
course, at least at this point, the universe doesn't happen for you. No, the universe doesn't happen
but
to you. It happens for you. So
it's
she'll
just kind of
explain.
shocking that she is very like, there's one thing to be like, okay, it would be really nice if I could like have both my book and the baby at the same time. Um and then just like pushing it so much that you're like changing dates and like when you're not even pregnant. So like, it's what I feel
Yeah,
like it's,
it's
I don't know.
odd.
To me, I don't buy into the whole like, oh, I just, I'm manifesting. I think they're just literally trying to come up with like that story that will sell and be like, this is how I've done it. I had a book and a baby, and then that's the next book. And like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like such a, other moms would be like, oh, I don't know how you could do it. So I guess like I would like to do that too. And
Yeah.
that's literally, I think it's very cynical. That's why it's bothering me a lot.
I think there's something to be said for people who are sort of average people. They really haven't accomplished any like triumphant thing in their life, but they still want to be seen as motivational. They create their own problems and then explain how they solved their problems that they created in the first place. Like, another example, like to bring Dave Hollis up again, like he was told he couldn't run. So then he learned how to run, and now that's supposed to be inspirational. It's like, bro, you could have run the whole time. That was your own mindset that told you that you couldn't. And the fact that you overcame that, good, great, glad for you. But like, this is not a story that I'm going to need to apply to my life. And same thing with Gabby. Like, she's like, I overplanned and like did something wrong. I didn't, I planned for my baby to come because I'm like so, what do you call it? Like, I don't know, not bossy, but like I'm so strict with everything that I do in my life that I made this horrible idea of deciding like what day my baby was going to be born, a problem that she created herself, and now she's going to tell you how she solved it as if she deserves a pat on the back. Like, you created the problem. Why do you need like, I don't know, like like a pat on the back. Like, that's how I feel. Like, they just want to be applauded. Like, "Oh, girl, you solved it. You did it." It's like, you
And
also
it's
created it
also
though.
such a story that is like, because like the struggles of being a mom is probably something that like a lot of women can relate to. So it's kind of like, okay, starting off on the right foot, we're going to talk about something super relatable. Like, we've seen that it's like mostly women in the audience. Let's talk about being a mom. Like, everyone knows about that, everyone relates to that. So
Yeah.
even if like it didn't quite match up with the book, like I'm just gonna start with that anyway. Like, it's I don't know, it drives me crazy because it's very manipulative.
Yeah, I agree. And of course, there's super soul sessions with Oprah. Yeah, women. So she's hit her target audience with this
Yeah.
idea. But okay, now we're going to find out how Gabby is still better than everyone else and how, she's chosen to be better than everyone else as well, and how this makes sense in a second.
And I'm driving myself crazy because I'm trying to control something that I absolutely cannot control. But all the while, I'm telling my friends and my family members that I'm consciously conceiving. I was consciously controlling every detail. And 6 months go by, and I'm still not pregnant. At this point, I start to worry. I'm getting older. My body isn't working. There's something wrong with me. I start to feel this sense of shame. But I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not telling anybody how I'm feeling. Every time I go on Instagram or Facebook, I see more bumps and more babies, and I feel separate and I feel alone. And I begin to compare myself to everyone around me. To make matters worse, I had prematurely announced my pregnancy to my friends and my family members. I even went as far as to get on my stages publicly and tell my students that I was planning to conceive. And this got really bad. It got so bad that I was at a book signing and this young woman grabbed.
She announced? What the fuck? She
Well,
announced
makes
her
sense.
pregnancy to her
That she was
friends and
conceiving.
family when she was not pregnant.
Well, she announced that she was going to conceive. Like, okay, it's happening. I'm ready.
Oh, and also I don't know if you noticed, but she's like, oh yeah, and I wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't tell anyone. I'm like, yeah, unless you're paid. Now you're
Yeah.
telling everyone. When you're
Yeah, there's
paid,
gotta
you're
be
on
incentive.
stage, and you're here on like the Oprah show, or you have a book or whatever. Then you tell people. When it's for money, you tell people. But when it's for free, you keep it to yourself. That's nice.
I put that behind a paywall. I put
Yeah.
my personal information behind that. Yeah, I agree. And it's going to get even sort of weirder in a second.
grabs my hands and she walks up to me as she asks me to sign her book and she says, you know, Gabby, I've been channeling your spirit baby and she has a message for you. This really pushed me over the edge.
Okay, that part, she's like, oh, I announced to my book signing or whatever that I was going to conceive. And so she's putting it out there in the universe like they tell you and the secret to do. This woman comes up to her and goes, I'm channeling your spirit baby, whatever. And she's like making fun of this woman. Literally, Gabby has a fucking YouTube video called Connecting to Your Spirit Babies. And she tells and teaches people how to connect to spirit babies and how to like talk to them and like forgive them for, leaving you or whatever, or I don't know. It's like a whole thing, but she definitely believes in spirit babies and often communicates with them and channels with them. So why is she like making this seem like this woman is crazy and made me mad? It's like, you do the same shit.
Yeah. Well, is she not about to say, oh, and finally then I understood or something? Or
No, she just wanted to put that out there. Like, this bitch was
Okay.
like telling me that, I had a spirit baby and I wasn't even pregnant yet. And so how rude of her. But like, Gabby herself does this to other women. Anyways. Okay.
wow. Okay.
6 more months go by. It's New Year's Eve. I'm at a dinner with all of my college friends, and they all have at least one child, maybe a second on the way. Another couple had adopted a child. And I'm sitting around this dinner table, and I'm looking at everybody prepare their kids for dinner and get them ready for bed, and I'm feeling like I'm behind. I'm missing out on this stage of life, and I'm not feeling good enough. I wake up the next day, New Year's Day, a full year later, and I got my period. I spent a year trying to make this thing happen. I spent a year trying to make my body do something that it's not going to do. I'm feeling that shame, I'm feeling that inadequacy, that separation. I'm not good enough, I can't make this happen. Thankfully, I had a friend staying with me, my friend Jordan, a very great spiritual running buddy of mine. And Jordan looked at me, and he noticed my depression and my sadness, and he looked at me and he said, honey, what is wrong with you? And I said, well, Jordan, I couldn't make it happen. My body isn't working. I can't make it happen on my timeline. I tried to change everything around. It wasn't working. Honey, stop. This is not how we do things. Ask the universe for help. It was one of those divine spiritual encounters when
I'm struggling here to feel sympathy to the point of tears. Like, lots, especially she's like in her late 30s. I mean, if you were to talk to a doctor, they would say it's going to take a while. Be patient. Here are the things to do. But a year, like if you're 20, maybe okay, cause for concern. But like when you're at that age, like it takes time. Like the fact that she's crying, like I didn't do it in the fastest possible way. It's like okay, like neither do anyone else.
I don't think a year is like that long. I would expect it to take longer at 30 for sure. And she was what, like mid 30s or something?
Like 37. Like she's not,
Yeah.
she had her, so she got pregnant again after she had her first baby. And when she was 42, and that baby did not make it. But she also basically, before the baby was not, I don't know what happened. She didn't go into details about what happened with the second baby, but she was already showing at the time when it was no longer feasible. But she said, like, before when she announced that pregnancy, she basically was like, I manifested again. I'm 42. This is a miracle. I've created a miracle for the second time. Like, anything's possible in your life, too. And then she lost the baby.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it was very confused, like, weird. It's just kind of like, ugh. Like, I feel bad for her. I have nothing to say about, like, what happened. That's just awful and sucks. And even if you're a fake guru and that happens, I still have a lot of sympathy. But the way that it was presented, like the first time, like, look, see, I'm living proof that a spiritual life produces results. It's just like, when something like that happens and it doesn't come full circle, it's like, I don't know. It's awkward.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's also like she needed this side character, the spiritual running buddy, to tell her that the universe, like she needs to ask the universe. I thought Gabby was the expert on the universe, and like what, she didn't know that
She needs
to ask
men
the
to tell
universe?
her. She needs Peter in her head and Jordan in her life to tell her actually how the universe works.
So she didn't know that you need to ask the universe, but she would create a whole course teaching you how to ask the universe for whatever. But like when it comes to her, she didn't know that. She needed to be told by the side character guy.
More relatable, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why.
I
But yeah.
don't know. It sounds like every teenage drama has like a side character telling you like something really really deep when it's like the dark what's
Yeah.
it called, the dark point of the, I don't remember what it's called, but that moment when it all is lost in the story, there's always a side character being like, have you thought about asking the universe?
Have you thought about stop bitching for 5 seconds? That might
Have you
help.
thought about just go have a bath? Like,
Go get a lymphatic massage. How about that? Stop bothering
oh,
me.
she's like, I'll do it all. Like,
Yeah.
all the massages.
Yeah. Just massage yourself until the baby comes. Like, okay.
A
That works.
spiritual running buddy is a running buddy that is spiritual. I just imagine them running together and be like, see, the universe has your back. And he's like, yeah, totally. By the way, there's a car. Oh my God, the universe saved us. Wow.
Yay! Amazing. This is so wonderful. Yeah, I think she just means like a friend who's also spiritual, I guess. I don't know. I don't think they actually run together, but maybe they do.
I like the visual of them running together.
Just
being
floating with angel
spiritual.
wings, like hovering
Yeah.
over the side pavement, the sidewalk. Okay, so now she's going to talk about how, when she asked the universe for help, which apparently she didn't know that she should do before, despite being a self-help guru who says the universe has got your back. Now the universe is going to like play like dropping hints, the dropping hints game to show her like, you're going to get this baby girl. I'm going to leave hints for you. It's like a little like puzzle that she gets to solve because,
Oh,
the universe
wow.
has so much time
Special.
just to like play games with Gabby
Yeah.
Bernstein.
I
Okay.
was ready to listen, and I said, thank you, Jordan. I'm ready to hear that. I'm ready to receive that. And I excused myself, and I walked upstairs to my meditation pillow, and I sat down in my Zen den, and I got really grounded. And I asked the universe for help. I went into my meditation and I began to feel my extremities tingle and my arms go numb, and I started to connect to that presence of a higher power
having a
of my
stroke.
own understanding, that reliable presence that
Your
is so
arms are going numb.
familiar, the presence of love and magnitude that is within me. And I started to connect and get
Oh,
grounded and aligned.
can we
And
pause
in that
for a sec?
alignment, I heard this voice.
Peter's
Because she
talking to
says
her.
there the presence, she could feel the presence of love. Gabby doesn't mean the same thing as you and me by love. Love means something else to Gabby, and she spends a whole like she has several things like in the book that she has to first like define so that you understand what they mean, so that you know how they will be used in the future. So love is gosh, I would need to like go back to the book. It's like, I get confused every time. But there's also like a thing called the ing. Um,
Oh,
so I got confused very quickly in that book, like really quickly. Like she literally defines the thing, and then on that second page, I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. Because when Gabby says I love you, she doesn't mean like I love you. She means I don't know, like see you in this like thing that you were born with like the no idea. Like
Oh
I
God.
have to find out exactly what that definition is, but it's a cult tactic to change the meaning of words, to take words that we all
Oh.
understand to mean a certain thing, and to be like, for me, actually, for us here in this book, in this like conference, we don't mean that. We don't mean love as in love. We mean love as in this other thing. Like, it's like, what the fuck is that
Interesting.
needed for? Like, it's not necessary.
Love for regular people is, honesty and communication and acceptance. But for us, it means cold hard cash in my bank account. Right, bitches?
I need to get the 1 second. I'm gonna get the book because I need to find that definition.
Okay. Yeah. Define love. Here's 7 pages of what it means to me. Some say love, it's got multiple meanings, especially if your name's Gabby. Some say love, it is.
So, yeah. So, um, allow me to translate. Okay, it's important. Like this book needs translations. So love is like an inner state of joy. Thank you,
Wait, pause.
Amelia.
Thank you, Amelia. Woo, woo, woo. Thank you so much. Okay, wait, let me just play one new soundbite for you, Amelia. This is a Rachel Hollis one, though. Sorry.
I am not problematic.
That one's for you, Amelia. That's a good one,
isn't
right?
either. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very good.
We appreciate it.
Okay.
Continue.
So, the love I'll speak of throughout the book is not to be confused with romantic love. The Course defines this as the right minded emotion of peace and joy. This kind of love is not something we offer to some people and deny others. This is one love that embodies everything and everyone. When we're in a state of love, we see everyone as equal and we feel at ease all the time. This state is fearless and faithful. That's why it's hard to explain it because it's everything. That's what love is.
It's everything and
everything.
nothing all at once. Okay.
But it's not
I think
love.
I'm more confused.
Okay?
Okay.
It's everything
It's not
but
love.
it's not what you know, but everything else. Okay?
It's more deep. It's deeper because she's deeper than everyone else. Okay,
Yes,
I got
of
it. She's better. That's my whole takeaway. Gabby Bernstein is better than you. No matter what level you're at, she's better than you. That's all you need to know about her.
Yeah.
Done.
Voice
Of
come
course.
forward. This voice of my intuition, this voice of my inner wisdom. And that voice said to me, your plans are in the way of God's plans. It's time to surrender. At which point I feel this energy begin to move me and lift me up and bring me to my desk. And I sit down at my desk and involuntarily I place my hands on the keyboard of my computer and my fingers just start typing. And they're moving and they're moving, and all of a sudden at the top of the page, the words that were not
That's
mine came
Peter.
onto the page. These are the steps
Peter.
for spiritual surrender.
Pete,
Okay.
what are you doing?
So I just let my fingertips continue to
Pete
go. For
Davidson's
30
there,
minutes,
like,
my fingers just glided across that computer screen, and I just let the words come onto the page. And words that were not mine, ideas that were not mine, belief systems, guidance, wisdom that was not mine came onto this page. And within that half-hour period of time, I channeled the 5 steps for spiritual surrender. The exact steps that I needed.
It's like she like held for applause.
How can you say that with a straight face? Like,
I don't know.
just seriously, like, how do you not like hide somewhere when saying that? Because I would need like a big blanket to hide behind.
She's so proud of it too. Like, I wrote these words. It's like, you just said that none of it comes from you. So what's the point of like, oh, I did this? It's like, so you like dictated words from somebody else.
Yeah, maybe that's what
different
she
entity.
means. Maybe she has like there's an actual writer who just dictated and she
Yeah.
wrote down. She's like, oh my god, say more, say more.
What'd you say? 5 steps to what?
That's so good,
Spiritual
dude.
surrender?
What was that number for? Wow, keep going. I imagine someone being like on weed, high on weed, and being like, oh my god, I had this like crazy idea. Just hear me out. And Gabby's like, oh yeah, totally, like writing it down like voraciously.
I feel like that's, and I made a joke about this, and I realized that the joke probably was insensitive. Well, I didn't realize it. People pointed it out to me, 2 people, that it was insensitive. So I agree. But it's like, where does the line cross from like schizophrenia into this? Like, why is this acceptable to be told on a stage and like people are supposed to look up to it and be impressed by it? But then if I was like, you know, I heard a voice yesterday that told me that, you know, the government's watching me. People be like, oh no, you gotta go and you gotta get help for that. Like, this is not okay. This is not acceptable in our society. Yet if I'm on a stage and Oprah's introducing me as like, you know, a thought leader, I can just say crazy ass shit and it's accepted. It's like, what, how do we allow this cognitive dissonance to exist?
Because this is spiritual, and Pete
Oh,
was
okay.
on it.
It was Peter, okay? It wasn't,
It wasn't
you know,
her. It was Pete.
someone else. Okay. Petey did it. Just blame Petey. That's what I'm gonna do. If I ever get arrested, like, it wasn't me, it was my spirit guide. They forced me up into the Saks Fifth Avenue to take that scarf and put it in my purse, and then I was forced to walk away. My spirit guides did it.
Yeah,
My
you guys. I'm
spirit
not
guide,
here.
Winona.
It's my spirit guide, Dave. He's
Dave.
talking
Dave would
through
be my
me.
spirit guide. Dave told me.
Dave is talking through me. I'm not even aware of what words I'm saying. So if I get canceled, just like blame Dave
me.
because I have no problems whatsoever. I'm just the vessel. Dave is the spirit.
My spirit guide's telling. Actually, that reminds my spirit guide of something. He wants me to sing a song. I have no control, so I have to sing it. But like,
Yes,
he's
let's go.
asking permission. Okay, are you
Who's
ready?
your
Okay,
spirit
this
guide?
is
Wait, what's your spirit
mine's
guide?
also Dave.
Oh, okay, yeah, Dave. It's Dave Hollis.
Yeah, his name's Dave. Okay, ready?
Why do you follow me if you don't already own my book?
Oh my
That
God,
was
it's
so
almost-
crazy, guys.
It's almost as if we heard Dave himself.
Yeah, he really spoke through me.
It's like better than Gabby's spirit.
Voices don't happen for me. They happen through me. Talking. Ideas and beliefs don't happen for me. They happen
No.
through me.
Hear me.
God. And everyone, the audience though looks understandably pissed. They're like, what the fuck is this? What did I sign up for?
Yeah.
Thought we were doing paternity tests. I thought this was Maury. How did I end up in Oprah's like crazy spirit factory? Like, what happened? Can you imagine if you
Yeah.
wanted to be on Maury? Do you know what Maury is? That show where it's like, you are not the father.
No, I
That
don't
show?
know this. Oh
There's
God,
a show that used to be on in the
awful.
morning. Yeah,
Sounds
it was like
awful.
one of those like talk shows, and it was on like when you're home from school sick, and it used to be a bunch of topics, but then eventually it just became like people would come on and be like, so I had sex with 7 men, and I brought them all here to find out who's the father of 1-month-old Josiah, and like everyone in the audience is like, oh, and they like come out, the fathers come out, and they like, depending on what type of character it was, like these are real people, like the audience would go boo boo, like it all like very dramatic and like involved in the show. So can you imagine if you like thought you were there? Yeah, like they'd be like, you are not the father. Actually, hold on, we need to take a second break so that you can see a clip of Maury, just to get the full experience, because it's hard to
If we
really
didn't
explain.
get claimed by Oprah, we'll definitely get claimed by Maury.
Maury's like, I've been on TV for 47 years. You are getting claimed for any 1 second that you've done anything. Okay, here's an example. Hold on. The name of this is, I was in a coma. I can't be your baby's father.
Oh my God. What?
That's the show.
I've been getting paid
Yeah.
1,000.
Oh, this girl. This chick. Let's see her. I've been getting paid for Audible. It's like, okay, thank you. Okay, I just want to watch Maury.
Was addicted to alcohol, admitted to sleeping with over 100 men at one time.
Wow.
It was during that time that she became pregnant with her now 2.5-year-old son, Brandon.
But you
Now,
see how the
I wanna
audience
tell
gets
you,
so involved.
5 men have appeared on our show, and they have been proven not to be Brandon's father. And so today, Angela's back, and we've given a DNA test to the 6th man, named Corey, who wants to be and believes
It's just the audience involvement. Is
the
so
father
dumb.
of this adorable little boy.
So that's Maury. So I'm just
that's
imagining. These people signed up for Maury and they got Gabby instead. They're like,
Yeah.
she hears voices? Boo!
Where's Maury? Bring Maury back.
Who's the father of your baby, Gabby?
It's Pete. I was going to tell my husband first, but okay.
Is it Peter? Is Peter the father, or is
it's
your
Peter
husband? Oh,
It's
sorry.
like Mary, Jesus' mom. That's what he was saying.
Was it
So
Immaculate
Joseph-
Conception, or was
Joseph,
it
just so you know,
your
I got
husband?
pregnant. He's like, what? Why the fuck did you cheat on me? She's like, no, it's the Son of God. I got pregnant
Yes.
through angels. He's like, wow,
I was
you couldn't come up with a
touched.
better
Oh, no.
story? You didn't have time to come up with a better lie.
That's just another thing to like shame women. It's like, well, Mary got pregnant with never having sex, so what's your excuse? It's like, come on, man.
It's okay.
Give me a break.
Gabby had a lot of sex and still didn't manage to get pregnant
Nothing.
for a year.
Nothing.
A year.
Yeah, this woman's like, when's this gonna be over? I'm pissed. I was promised.
Like, yeah, so
Salacious
Pete wrote through your
gossip and-
fingers. Yeah, okay, dude.
Okay, continuing.
Was-
Sorry, we just needed to
was
do
like
that
ink-
aside to understand.
Was like ink coming through her fingers too, like just suddenly, magically. Like,
And it's funny because I guess that didn't take off, that piece of writing, so she like never talks about it. Like if that was truly like a channeled from beyond the ether, like you dropped it as soon as it didn't like sell immediately. That's so interesting,
yeah,
to say the least. Oh, okay.
yeah.
And so it says, Regina says, Maury was around when I was in middle school and I'm 41. He doesn't age. He's also looked the same the whole time.
Oh, it's Botox.
Maury himself has found the secret of youth, the fountain of youth.
Well,
It's crazy.
Botox and money.
something, man. Just having an easy ass life. Like that show, he has a job security forever, and it's like simple. They're like 30-minute episodes. He's got it made, man. That's a gig I want.
I loved it though.
Okay.
That was so fun. I wanted to be in that audience and be like, get her out of
It's
here.
funny.
Just like
It's so
throwing
funny 'cause-
tomatoes and eggs.
yeah. They're very judgmental. But like, I didn't know. I just searched the Maury. That's all I searched, I think, on YouTube. But like the way I described it to you, I felt like it was the perfect thing that I like description of the show. Because I'm like, yeah, it's like a woman who's like slept with a million guys, and then like they all boo, and then like the clip is exactly that. Like, damn, did I channel that? That's just how every episode is.
Imagine Gabby being
God.
that woman. Imagine her being on stage and being like, so I have 100 spirit guides. And they'd be like, boo! Who's the true spirit guide?
Yeah. Peter shows up. It's like, oh, interesting. Man.
Oh, man. Okay.
That's good.
Let's keep watching.
Anyways. Yeah, these people are like, I got the wrong ticket. I was lied to. Ticketmaster misdelivered.
The exact messages that I was looking for, the guidance, the wisdom, the connection. I channeled the steps. But now I had to become brave enough to wonder what would happen if I step back and let the universe take the lead. We all have to become brave enough to wonder. Every single one of us in this room today is trying to control something. You know what I'm talking about? You all know what it is. Maybe you're trying to control that ring that you're trying to get on your finger, or maybe you're trying to control when you're going to get that cash in the bank, or maybe you're trying to control the outcome of a physical diagnosis. But all that control and all that manipulation, all that trying to make something happen is creating resistance. Resistance from the alignment, resistance from that intuitive voice that is beckoning you all the time, resistance from your connection to a power far greater than yourself.
What could you even do? She's like, I decided to let the universe take it from you. It's like, okay, but what can you do? You can't get pregnant, so I guess, like, what will you do?
As opposed to before, when you were controlling the universe, now you're going to let the universe control you? Like, okay.
Like, you can just, like, keep trying, right? Or, like, find other ways. But, like, what do you mean you let what do you mean?
When I drive, I literally take my hands off the wheel, and wherever I end up, I go. It's amazing. I also drive a Tesla, but that's not important. It's really the universe that guides me. I do input it in my GPS, but that's besides the point. That's not me controlling in things. That's just the spirit. Peter told me where I'm going. So
all I'm controlling is
connected.
the address and the way there.
What I'm controlling is the destination and the path that I follow, but nothing else.
Yeah. Nothing else. The rest is up to the universe.
How I get there is not up to me, except when I put the information in and follow it. Oh, that's good.
Oh, God, okay.
A magnitude that is within you that you have forgot to listen to because you've been too busy focused on what you need to get. But it's in the absence of that resistance that we realign. It's in the absence of that resistance that we remember the truth of who we are. It's in the absence of that resistance that we get connected to the universe. And the universe is an ever-present energy of love that is within us and around us and always guiding us. And it's through these steps of spiritual surrender that we realign, that we reconnect with that magnitude and that presence, and we let go of what we think we need, and we remember the truth of who we are. So I have a question for you all. Are you ready to surrender?
Yes!
I am here today to give you these 5 steps that I have been using over the past year. These steps have grounded me, they've realigned me. Thank you for getting your notebooks out, people, get ready. I have been using these steps to get reconnected, realigned, and rebooted in a sense. And these are the steps of spiritual surrender so that you can know that the universe has your...
Okay, I'm bored. I don't know. We don't need to watch this whole thing.
This is like your theory about these like spiritual gurus using like technological downloads and like just like vocabulary around like technology to use in the spiritual like realm. Um, because like she's like, I'm rebooting. Yeah, I just restarted myself. I just gave myself a kick in the hard drive.
She just goes, no. That was me turning back on. Sorry, just had to reboot real quick. Sorry, I just had to connect to my dial-up.
Were you like a glitch?
Yeah. She starts spinning. It's like she becomes a rainbow and just starts spinning around. Sorry. We're
Was
trying to
just
fix
rebooting
this.
for a second. Oh God.
Sorry.
Um,
You just turned blue. Started having text on screen.
Give them the blue screen of death.
Yeah. We're sorry. We're working on things behind the scenes. Okay. She's going to talk about the steps. The part that's sort of interesting is how she's like, now she's getting these signs. She's like, I drive around with my car. And then I just felt that there was a baby seat in the back seat. And then I just knew that I was going to have a baby in March. But then March passed and I was like, what the hell? And then I realized later that I conceived in March. So the universe has my back.
It was totally the same thing as having the baby
Yeah.
in March.
Yeah. She knew. She knew the signs to look
Yeah.
for. So
So
I
was
think-
that
so this-
baby
this-
baby thing there because she bought it and put it there, or exactly how did that end up in her car?
well, she just felt that it was there. It wasn't really there. She just felt like it was there. So she's like, oh.
Do you mean how do you feel
Wow.
something is there? I just. I mean,
She's
to be
driving.
honest,
She's like,
she is very special. There's a whole thing in here about how she's special. Like her mom is spiritually and woo and raised her to think she's super special and empathetic. And she essentially, have you ever seen like a superhero movie? Have you noticed like that way that they talk about it? Like you have to control it. You have to learn to control it. You're stronger than regular people. Exactly, like that's the exact chat that you get in this book. Like she needed to learn to control her powers and like
come back down to earth. Oh, okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
she's so ethereal. Yeah.
yeah, she's that special.
Yes, that is the vibe I get from her. That she says it outrightly. Like I pulled the two clips where she says like verbatim, like I get more done in 1 hour than most people get done in a lifetime, or whatever the fuck she said. It was like, how? Like, what do? You what? Like type faster? Like more people have written 10 books before. Like that's not an unheard of thing. So what else do you do? Oh, I record podcasts that I hire a team to handle for me. It's like, okay, so
It's a
you're
very-
efficient because
Teal Swan thing. Teal Swan does that. I'm smarter than you. Like I'm smarter than most people. Like it's just like I don't understand
Yeah.
what's the point of like telling people that you're smarter than them. I find it so arrogant and like
it does
I'm
work,
not
I
sure
guess,
what
for
it-
some people. Like, oh, okay. If you say
you guys.
so.
I'm smarter than all of you. Kea, I'm smarter than you. Just so you know. Did it work?
Well, that's funny
Did you buy
because
my product?
I'm,
Merch in description. Let's see if it
but
works.
also, I'm smarter than you, so we're gonna have a conflict.
Actually, yeah.
But also,
So-
I'm actually smarter.
But yeah, totally.
Prove me
So,
wrong.
you guys have no idea just how smart we are. Like, have no idea.
I saw someone commented on our video about Teal Swan. They're like, she's smarter than both of you guys combined.
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
saw that.
smart how? That we have emotions and that we're sad and that like that's a problem? Oh yeah,
We
genius.
have principles.
Wow. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry that
Yeah.
I don't want to give unlicensed therapy to people for thousands of dollars. Yeah, you're right. She's so smart. She's smart. You could be smart and evil at the same time. Smart and unethical.
And I'm not sure what's the point. It's like, okay, so what if she's smarter? We can't criticize her or what? Am I only allowed to
Well,
criticize
we
dumb
can't
people?
understand. We have dumb brains, so we can't
Right.
understand
We
the
can't
genius of
understand, but
Swan.
everyone else can. But just me and you are the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Teal, I'm a genius Swan. Gabby, I'm the best Bernstein. That's their middle names.
Gabby, I'm the best, and Pete.
Pete's there too. When you hire me to speak on your stage, you get me, and I'll throw in Pete for free.
But why doesn't
Wow,
she
2
say?
for 1.
Why doesn't she say like, "Oh, Pete is better than all of you. Pete is a better
Yeah.
writer. Pete can get more done than all of you." Since she's so channeled by Pete, you know,
I don't know. Good question.
she's
Seems
not
like
giving
there's a
Pete
lack of
any
attribution.
credit.
I know Pete's
Like-
over there in the afterworld. Like, what the fuck?
Pete
Gabby?
is there doing all the work, and Gabby is taking all the credit. Like, what the fuck?
Pete's like, this is purgatory. The only way I can get on to the next level is if I like convince 1 million people to buy Gabby's book. Okay, we're so close. I need to like channel her a little bit more. And she's like, yeah, or no, maybe his goal in life is to prove that like she needs to learn the lesson of like humility. And he's just like epically failing so hard. He's teaching
"This
her
is
like
not the
all the
way,
wrong
Pete."
things.
Pete, I can give you like 1 million other ways.
He's giving her all these signs like, okay, like she wants to get pregnant. Okay, let's like delay it for a while so that she feels like, okay, I'm not in control. And then Gabby takes that the totally wrong way. She's like, oh no, I learned the lesson that I'm actually like
Totally in
surrendering, and therefore, yeah. You're like, no, Pete's like, God damn it, not again. She's not getting it.
I am asking once again Pete to descend into this podcast. I really would like your presence here with us.
We should do like a
let us
seance, like,
know,
Pete-
what are you thinking?
Pete, if you're here, we just get in the dark. Pete, if you're here, make your presence known. Show us a sign that you're here, Pete. Oh my God. Did you guys hear
Did you
that?
guys hear it?
Oh my God. Okay. Wait, this is Pete. Guys!
Oh my God, Pete is here. You guys want to say something to Pete? Write your comments now. Pete,
It costs 99
how
cents.
are
We
you,
set up
Pete? Are you okay?
Send 99 cents to get his response. Pete, if you're here, tell us something. We're funny. Oh my God.
They're
Pete, tell us
nothing
something
in
else.
the sky.
Tell me something else. Oh, thank you.
Oh my God.
Okay,
Thank you, Pete. Oh, you're so right.
tell me one final thing, Pete. No, tell me another thing.
Thank you, Pete. Oh my God. You guys want to
feeling
ask
hot.
questions?
Join my miracle transmission class. You can learn how to ask questions to Pete.
It's only
Okay.
$997.
997 cents.
It's
Per
only
day.
available today. It's only like
Today
we only
and
have like
through the
100,000
afterlife.
copies.
Yeah. It'll last
Get
you a
it
lifetime
fast.
and in the one beyond. Just ask Pete.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you got your testimonials from like spirits? Hi,
feel like
I'm
she
Pete.
Sorry, go on.
You're fine.
I was gonna say she missed an opportunity with her Ask Gabby podcast to be like Ask Pete.
Ask Pete. Can you imagine having to explain that to somebody like, oh, what podcast is this? Oh, it's called Ask Pete. Oh, it sounds like a woman's voice. Is her name Pete? Well, it's a long story. Basically, she's possessed by a man named Pete who forces her to write things while she's, going through traumatic events. Oh, interesting. And so best-selling author is actually Pete? Oh, no. Okay.
Pete got none of the awards, none of the credit, none of the money. Pete got nothing.
Pete apparently died for nothing. Just to be
Pete is
ignored
there
again.
just like punching like his table. Be like, damn it. I chose the wrong guru.
I should have picked teal. Ugh.
Yeah.
She's getting full-on documentaries. God, what does Gabby do? She just does her podcast. Boring. Lame.
Oh, God.
Okay,
You
let's
had
watch the
something
end.
there, though. I feel like I interrupted you, but you had something that sounded fun.
No, I forget. It was like my pitch to Pete or something. Like, hi, I'm Pete, but I don't forget the rest. I usually come up
Okay.
with it as I'm saying it, so maybe Pete, if you're with us, send me a
Pete,
sign that you'll
come
let
back.
me know what the joke was.
Peace.
Oh, okay. Pete's here. Pete's here, everybody. He's entered the realm. All right. Here we go. Now she's gonna wrap it up for us, nice and tight with the bow.
What we are now willing to give away.
Oh no, she's doing her meditation. Boring.
Take that home with you. Use that prayer, offer it up, surrender it fully and completely. As it turns out, the universe had a plan far greater than I did. The plan wasn't that I was going to get pregnant in the exact moment in time that I expected. The plan was that I
kidding.
was going to learn how to mother myself before I could be a mother.
Oh,
Amen,
man.
sister.
We are
Woo.
living in times where it is required of us to have a spiritual foundation, an anchor,
No.
a sense of alignment. If we don't have that foundation, we will be flailing. We need that
be what?
connection now, and it is through the steps
Flailing.
of spiritual
Lovely.
surrender that you realign with that connection to the universe, to a higher power of your own
Like me.
understanding. We need it to
Like us.
survive and to thrive.
If anyone's flailing, it's the person who thinks that they're being guided by a man named Pete, okay?
I'm
wasn't
invited
my
by Dave,
fingers.
and I am not flailing. So,
I'm not flailing. I'm failing. Welcome to my life as a spiritual guru. People were asking if we needed to find out if he was the father or not. If Corey was in fact the father or not. So we need to find out. Okay, wait.
is that
okay.
like 40 minutes, though?
Yeah, they tell you right away. It's like instant gratification on Maury. They don't make you
Oh,
wait.
I love that.
I was in a coma. I can't be your baby's father.
Still desperate for answers, Angela soon returned with 2 more men to be tested.
David, you are not the father.
Okay, so that's all the flashbacks. Okay, okay, during the break. Right. Hold on.
On the show and taking the test.
There's
You
always
see this
random
app right
curse.
here? It's called Audible.
This girl is ruining my life.
That reminds me, I need to cancel my Audible membership.
In the case of 2.5-year-old Brandon, Corey, you are not the father.
Oh yeah, this is part of Maury too. They all run off camera.
Angela, it's going to be all right. If you want to continue the search, we'll help you, all right?
Still gonna help you out, all right?
Thank you.
You are the father.
This is Jeree. Now,
Maury.
I like when they do the follow-up, like, they never spoke again. I'm going to be with you the whole time. He was never found. All right, so Corey's not the father, everybody. That's the Gabby
Yeah.
Bernstein story in a nutshell.
Is not the spirit.
Corey's not the father.
Corey's not the father. Gabby's not the guru.
I think I changed my mind. I don't want Dave. You can have Dave as your spirit guide. I want to have Maury.
Ah,
I
yeah.
want Maury.
Well, he doesn't age, so that's good.
Yeah, I want an eternal spirit guide. I don't want a aging Peter.
Yeah. Dave does age. He's aged like 10 years and 2 years.
Yeah, poor guy, man. He did get new teeth, apparently, allegedly. So he's working on it.
Okay. Well, I don't think he can reverse it, but he can try.
He can get the facial that Heidi gets. It's like the one. She's like, it burns, but it feels so good. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's burning my
facial
pores.
The Botox, the facelifts, all of that stuff.
That's Dave's future, perhaps. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I
sure
guess.
she will give him like the recipe
The recipe
at
for
some
success.
point.
Heidi is 40 years old, but she looks like someone who's 70 that is trying to look 40, which makes no sense. I don't get it. I think when you start that stuff too young, it's hard to, I don't know, make it look natural as you get older, personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's just, it's hard. I don't know, like you just keep getting more and more.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not I don't like the idea of Botox because I feel like every time I've seen someone do it, they feel the need to do more and more. And then I don't know, it migrates or what. I don't know if it's Botox. I have no idea how those are called, like acid of sorts, like whatever. But they migrate in the face. So they never like fully go away. So they just move location. And that's why the face then becomes like a bit like different than it was.
Yeah.
But
That's
to each their
interesting.
own, you know, if you have the
Yeah.
money for that stuff and you want to try it, go ahead. But I am just kind of terrified of that migration. I'm like, where is it gonna go? And
Yeah, I might do it at some point in the future. I don't know. I never have, but maybe I will. But I just think there is a certain level of like, you've done so many things that it just you can't stop even if you wanted to. You just have to continue the process, and that seems like a nightmare to me.
yeah, I don't know. I might do it too, because like obviously you never know how you feel like in a couple of years. But because I feel like other things are more expensive. Like if you want to do like something surgical, it's more expensive than like getting like acid or like whatever Botox, and that's why people just gonna go to that. But
Yeah,
I don't know. Need to make a lot of money so I don't have to do Botox because I'm afraid that it will migrate into my cheeks.
yeah, you don't want that.
I don't know.
Or maybe
People
you
say that
do. That's like
maybe I
Juvederm.
do. Like maybe I should have like bigger cheeks. I don't know.
Hey guys, I just want to play this soundbite again because it's my new one, so I like it.
I am not problematic.
I love it. I love it so much.
She is like the least problematic influencer that there is.
Yeah, she's not problematic because she didn't mean to be mean. That was her excuse. She's like, I didn't mean it, so I'm not
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm not problematic.
Obviously, yeah. All the others, like, you know, uh, James Charles, like they all also didn't mean it, so it's fine.
Yeah, my intention was to harm, but since I didn't, then I should be forgiven. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Do you want to send off a sad message to Gabby, a violin send off as we wrap up here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, ready?
So I tried the ink that you said, but I got really confused. I'm not sure how to explain it. But the ink makes no sense, Gabby. So how can I ink without inking? Can you ink it to me?
Can you ping it to me? Because I'm not understanding without the P. Peter. Oh my God, that makes so much sense. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna do my Gabby impression. Will people only think of me as the rich girl who is also financially insecure, who also has an 8th grade education as well as a college education, depending on the day and depending on what setting I'm in? I just want everyone to know that I let the universe choose when I got pregnant. And that's because I'm a good person. And a better person than you, more importantly. So therefore, buy my book, but never think that you're me. Because I'm Gabby. And I'm the best. Good?
Thank you.
That was a good wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back
Thank you, guys.
next week. Well, okay, I will be out of town, but I'm going to bring my microphone with me. So I won't have my whole setup, but I'll be able to go live.
Oh no, we're not gonna get a green screen.
No, I don't think my friend has one. I'll be in Boston, Massachusetts at that time. So I'm going to New York and then I'm going to Boston. So, so I might be in like a new location. So don't be alarmed. I wasn't kidnapped. I'm just traveling by choice.
Well, that's okay because I never have a background anyway, so it's
True.
And people have not shunned me yet, so that's all good.
Not yet. Not that you know
might
of.
survive this.
Thank you. Don't cancel me. In the background today, by the way, is a New York yoga studio because that's what Gabby is all about.
Belongs.
New York and yoga studios, apparently.
Yeah. Thank you all for being here.
Yes,
Love
thank
and
you.
light.
Love and light. Love you guys. Bye.
What excites me most is see a person die.
That's an old soundbite.